Face front, true believers. This is Modular Media's No Prize podcast, where we talk Marvel movies, merchandise, comics, and more. I am your host, Chris Boingo Ryder Gaston, and with me, as always, is
taking over the distinguished competition. The Vacuuminator is here.
Hell yeah, because for the next 2 weeks, count them, not 3, not 4, not 1, but 2 weeks, we will be doing experiment. No, it's a thought process. It's a thought idea.
It's a fucking fanboy in the comic book store shitting around conversation is what it is.
Where we each are going to take our favorite comic book company. Vac is going to handle DC. I am going to handle Marvel, and we're basically going to pitch how we would run the comics. Essentially,
what I'm taking it as is like, what would be my sort of editorial process for DC Comics, and then what are the stories I want to see told initially under this process?
We're taking the reins of Stan Lee, of Jim Shooter, Joe Quesada. Don't know any DC ones I can mention.
And DiDio, Jeff Johns, Jim Lee. That's just the really recent guys.
But like, we're going, basically it's like, okay, they come to us and say like, you're that guy. You're that guy now. How are you going to run this?
Mm-hmm.
And because we've been talking a lot of Marvel stuff lately, I thought, you know what? Gonna be nice. Give
Look at you. Aren't you nice, Mr. Call Me a Bitch before we started recording?
Hey.
Yes.
That was the bit. It was just me saying, hey, there was no punchline to the bit.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I was gonna try and make like I'm trying to send a dove of peace over to you and tie it into the DC character Dove, but I wasn't sure how.
Yeah, spoilers, there's no plans for Hawk and Dove in my pitch because nobody gives a shit about Hawk and Dove.
One person gave a shit about Hawk and Dove. His name was Steve Ditko.
That's true, but he's gone now.
But yeah, so Vac is going to lead us through his DC universe, his Elseworlds of DC, so to speak.
Essentially, if I was put in charge of the mainline DC continuity, this is what I would do. But as is, because this is obviously never going to happen unless I win the lottery and buy the company, this is an alternate universe. Say you take where DC is right now, and the timeline splits off into this universe. This is what this is. I'm not saying what's going to happen with Black Label or Vertigo or any of that stuff, because my policy as an editor is going to be anything that's in imprint, anything that's not in mainline continuity, it's kind of allowed to do whatever the hell it wants. Because why shouldn't it be? If it's not affecting the mainline continuity, if it's not fucking Nazi propaganda or some shit, what do I care? It's a creator having fun with their favorite character or a character that they just really like.
Which is a completely fair take. It
takes. I was trying to come up with a take two joke there, but it just wouldn't fire off.
I mean, take two's already a joke.
Oof.
That's a video game joke for all y'all folks who don't understand it.
And see, I was just thinking of the whole take two to tango kind of thing. I couldn't figure out how to tie the sentences together. Because
there's a video game publisher called Take Two. They just
have they done anything I'd have heard of?
I think they own Rockstar.
Oh,
hold on,
this is riveting audio content.
Yeah, it is. Of course, it is. All of our audio content is fucking riveting.
Yeah, we only produce A+ content for all the good people of YouTube. That's why the algorithm loves us so much.
Oh, very much so. BioShock, Borderlands, Civ, Grand Theft Auto, Mafia, Max Payne, NBA 2K, PGA Tour 2K, Red Dead, WWE 2K.
Okay, so they're like a big AAA house.
Yeah, they're big AAA boys. They're up there with like EA and I was about to say Bethesda. Third largest publicly traded game company in America and Europe after Activision and Electronic Arts.
Ooh,
so.
Fancy big boy stuff going on there. But I've already explained a little bit of my pitch, so should I just go ahead and start continuing on?
Yeah. Go ahead. And what? And by the way, people who are wondering how we're going to structure this, Vac is going to pitch his things. I am either going to tell jokes based off of what he says, or kind of ask questions, prod into the mind, or basically act as like the writers' room itself and throw pitches and wrenches and going like, okay, but what about this? What about this? What if?
How does
What
this
if?
work with that? And
Yeah.
I'll,
Right
I'll
now,
either throw something back or I'll say we're getting to that.
that's basically like Vac is the new editor in chief. I'm the writers' room. That's the way.
Mhm.
That's the way we should think about it. And next week it'll be the other way around.
Yeah. Um, so okay, so I've already explained my policy towards imprints, but for the mainline continuity, the way it's gonna work is that I, as the editor in chief, am the only person who can say outright yes or no to an idea from now on. Editorial is gonna sort of look like a branching tree going down, where there is the editor in chief, and then there are editors for certain groups of characters. And our four main groups of characters are going to be the Super Family, the Bat Family, the Wonder Family, and the JLU. And I'll get into each of those individually as we go, but there's going to be a group editor for each of those groups, and then each book is going to have its own individual editor. But the editors aren't going to act as a sort of straightforward yes, no, here's a mandate kind of system like they have in the past. It's going to be much more of a collaborative, sort of communicative system of just sort of checking the writers and being like, hey, here's maybe a way we could do this a little more succinctly, or hey, you're writing Batman right now and you're going to have Batman go to this place, and at the same time the Wonder Woman writer is writing a story where Wonder Woman's in that place. Do you want to maybe push this story back a couple of issues so it doesn't interfere with that, or drop a line referencing what's going on with Wonder Woman, just so we have sort of a little more cohesiveness between books, kind of that old school back in
Continuity
back
checker.
yeah, back in the 80s, back in the 90s, kind of where there would be those big group editorial summits, how Death of Superman and that was pitched. That's now going to be a regular day-to-day thing, because we can accomplish that day-to-day now with services like Zoom, like Skype, like Discord. Um,
Black.
I I want I want the writing process for all the books to be a much more collaborative thing. Each book has its individual writer, and at the end of the day, they are in charge of that book, coming up with the stories and whatnot. But they also have an assigned status quo that comes down from me, the editor in chief, and they're working within that, and they're communicating with all the other writers through their editors in order to make the best stories possible.
So here's the question: if a writer wants to make like a big, impactful, like status quo change, I'm not saying like, oh, I want to kill Barry Allen.
No, we're
Am
not
I
killing
out?
characters. We are
But you
not.
know what I'm. But what I'm saying is like a big. Oh, I want to add a big significant side character to Wonder Woman's cast that impacts like Amazon and all that kind of stuff. She's an Amazonian who's just there, and like big change that's kind of like, oh, that's an important change. How would that writer go about it? Would it basically be like submit it in writing, go like, hi, yes, I would like to do this big artistic
Well,
change on this character, or is it just more of like, hey, I have a pitch, and like editor in chief, editor and writer all come together and kind of go like, okay, what are we trying to work out and trying to figure it out?
well, here's the thing. If you're going to make a major change to a status quo, you need to send in a pitch for that status quo and possibly also talk to me face to face. And you need to convince me as the editor in chief that it is going to be a good story. Not that it will sell books, that it will be a great story for these characters. And if it sounds like it, then I'll okay it. And I'm going to try and be very unbiased in this situation. It's about telling a good story, not about preserving my favorite characters. And the caveat I'm also going to have on top of that is, if you make a major change, it has to stick for the duration of your run. You can't kill a character for dramatic effect and then make the next arc of the book about bringing that character back from the dead.
So you're going with the old school Marvel idea, dead is dead.
dead is dead for the duration of your run.
Okay.
That kind of thing. And let me just double check. There's no other editorial stuff I need to. Oh yes. Uh, the approach we're taking to artists, because as I understand it, these days DC has very few exclusive contracts with writers or artists. Basically, I'm putting a writer on a book and I'm saying, get the artist you think will work the best for your story. Tell them to just talk to our legal department. We'll work out a contract with them for this book. I want you to have an artist you think will work great for the stories you want to tell, and I want to be able to keep that artist on consistently throughout your run. I understand if somebody has to leave because things come up and whatnot, but we want to try and keep, again, that consistency, that cohesiveness throughout runs.
I would imagine the penciler would be in charge of anchor and colorist.
Yeah, that kind of a whole thing. It's building a team from the writer down, with the editorial system acting as a sort of felicitation of whatever they want to do.
Okay.
Now getting into sort of stories and general status quo. And this is kind of the big thing that I would change is so are you familiar with the story Frank Miller always tells about why he wrote The Dark Knight Returns?
No, I don't think I have. I don't think I've heard that.
Okay, so when Frank Miller started working at DC Comics, he discovered that for a very long time there had been an internal rule at DC with general mainline continuity. Batman is always roughly 30 to 35 years old. He's never older than that. You have to keep him somewhat young, but just mature enough that any kid can look up to him.
So the rolling continuity, I'm trying to remember what the Marvel term is.
It's a sliding time scale.
Sliding time scale. Thank you.
And he looked at that rule and he went, "Oh, that's bullshit, because that means I'm older than Batman, and I don't want to be older than Batman." So he went. The initial idea behind The Dark Knight Returns was just to tell a story about an old Batman. And everything kind of sprang from there. And I look at that rule and I go, yeah, it's really good. That makes sense for selling books and telling stories, but we've had that rule for almost 80 years now, or however long since the character's been introduced, and it was then established that that's the internal rule with editorial. So I want to update that rule. And I don't want to just update for Batman. I want to update it for the entire Trinity, and of course have it ripple out to the rest of the universe. Because when you think about it, in like the last 20 to 30 years, the Marvel and DC characters have been being written slightly older, and they all have many sort of surrogate or literal child characters that have been under their wing. And they've gotten to a point now where they've reached such a level of iconicity, and we've told so many stories in this status quo of them being in their early to mid 30s, that I think it's time to move it up a little bit. So my thing is, we are now jumping about 10 years ahead in the DC time scale, and we're not making a big deal out of it. We're not throwing some big imprint about like DC 10 years later. It's just
no. And you're not doing like a big 52 what happened in the 1 year.
No. It's just now everybody is a little older. They got some bags under their eyes. They got some gray coming in. You know, all the heroes who have been 30 to 35, they're now 42 to 48.
So it's basically it's a time skip without any like major like twists happening in it. Basically, that 10 years is just like pretty standard DC superhero stuff happened.
Yeah, imagine that 10 years was the last 30 years of continuity, but just it all happened. It affected them a little more than we've been seeing it affect them. And
like Superman's graying in the temples. Diana has some gray in her hair.
Diana's got some bags beneath her eyes. Bruce has got a bit of a hunchback now, that kind of stuff.
Bruce is still fit, but he has a tiny dad bod.
Bruce looks like Chris Jericho now.
Actually, not a bad. He still looks fit, but he still looks dad bod.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, real quick, just a side tangent. this is a weird thing to say. I love how kind of weirdly bow-legged Chris Jericho looks right now, because he
Yeah,
looks
I noticed that this week too.
like I can just totally see Batman having that same posture.
Um, but that's the basic idea is we're moving into a new era of the DC universe, and I don't think this is going to be a detriment to the companies at all. And if anything, I think it's going to be a huge boon that's going to invigorate and allow for new and more interesting stories to be told. Because think about it. We've been stuck with the big three, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, being 30 to 35 for roughly 80 years now. Who's to say we can't get another 80 years out of them being in their mid to late 40s?
True, and there's also like, here's the thing: you're doing a time skip with nothing like big, major, weird catastrophe happening in it. You can go back and tell stories in earlier years and just go like, it happened somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's to say Action Comics number 2000 isn't going to have another story squeezing some more story into Action Comics number 1 somehow?
But you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a chunk of time where you can just go like, hey, it's around here.
Yeah. Um, but that's the basic idea. But then in addition to that, and this is what's going to affect the sort of 4 sectors of the DC universe I have set up. Um, because they are hitting their old age, it's their midlife. They're all the big three are sort of entering into a midlife crisis period, and hold on to that phrase.
Oh
Um,
god.
and
You
it's
said
going to
the word.
yeah, I did. I did say the word, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. It's going to affect each of them in different ways, but it's going to affect each of them in a strong enough way that they're not going to be on the Justice League. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, none of them are on Justice League teams.
The
And I
second
say
stringer,
teams.
so if like you want to do like they consult kind of thing.
Uh-huh. It's very much they're still willing to help out if something major happens, but for the most part they're off doing their own thing. And the first place I want to talk about that in is the lead book for the Super family, which is going to be, of course, Superman. And my idea for the Superman title is so we all know, we all understand what's going on in Superman these days. Superman had a kid and then he got aged up through time travel bullshit. And now that kid is off being his own Superman. John Kent is off being Superman a little bit earlier than I think Lois and Clark expected. They're empty nesters really early, and they're dealing with it by not dealing. They're throwing themselves into their work. And we're going to enter into a sort of era of quick 1 to 3 issue arcs of just Superman working a case with Lois right on his heels, writing down every detail, and then collabing on the story and the planet. Almost kind of like an X-Files like dynamic, but with classic Superman villains, of course, being at the end of every case.
There's also like a level of like I because it's just different comic companies. I don't want to keep bringing it up like this, but it's also like a level of Peter Parker, Daily Planet, not Daily Planet, Daily Bugle, kind of
Mhm.
like writing the stories on their own. Like I'm not saying it's a copy. I'm just saying like there should be steps to take to avoid that classic thing.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. And the
Like
writer,
Jimmy Olsen shouldn't be part of the group.
no,
Like
Jimmy will show up every once in a
yeah, yeah,
while.
yeah. But
Anyone,
I'm just
anyone who's ever been a part of the Daily Planet cast will show up as supporting cast members. But for the most part, we're going to focus in on Lois and Clark and their trauma of having lost their child, but not really lost their child because they still see John. He still comes by on the weekends for like Sunday dinner and shit. But they didn't really get to enjoy most of his childhood. He's already grown up and out, and that's a sort of trauma. That's a trauma that this couple is working through together through their day job. And you know who's a writer who's really good about writing superhero stories that deal with trauma? Tom King. Tom King is my pick to write Superman.
you're doing the thing. You're doing the thing that everybody says, "Yo, that'd be dope."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's my basic pitch for the Superman book. And then and I have this thing with each family of books. Action Comics, we're going to take it back to the sort of evergreen idea of it's a rotating cast of writers and artists just doing fun little done-in-one stories or short arcs that aren't always focused on Superman or really even superheroes. You can do arcs focused on just incidental characters from around the Superman universe. Like, do an arc about Lana Lang. Do an arc about Ma Kent. Do an arc about fucking Bibbo. Just give it to me. Just give me some fun side stuff that you can show to
Action
someone.
Comics is Tales from Metropolis.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Here's the bigger question I have about that is a lot of comics sell on the trade. Do you think that'll how do you think that will work with the trade? Are you not worrying? Are you not worrying about the trade, at least for that book specifically?
I mean, with Action and all, because it's the same premise with Detective and then Sensation Comics for the Wonder Woman family of books. I wasn't thinking about the trade at all, but I suppose you could because it's a rotating cast of writers and artists. You could keep one group of writers and artists for like enough issues to get a trade, and then rotate them out. We could do it that way.
So turn basically those books into graphic novel generators. So they're evergreen books. Okay, that's a thing that like I think should be a thing, especially with how much trades are just working. I just think
trades are the new way to read comics. Really, a lot of people who get into comics now just buy trades. Issues are kind of dying, which is both sad, but it's still good to see comics pick up in the way they have in the last 10 years.
I mean, I'm the weird one for liking floppies, you know.
And really, I've been trying to get rid of my floppies, but I still every month I go out and pick up my copy of Supergirl because it's
but that's like a specific that's a specific book you're on your pull list, you know.
Yeah, well, I don't even have a pull list. I just walk in and grab the new issue of Supergirl, bring it up to the counter, and walk out.
It's your personal pull list, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But speaking of Supergirl, and this is definitely the big one I'm a little nervous about because obviously it's my favorite character, and I've got a bit of a bold idea here that might get me some flack. So I'm just assuming where Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is gonna go, because Tom King has said it's firmly in current continuity. This is Infinite Frontier Supergirl. And she's 21. She's essentially all grown up now. And I'm assuming by the end of this book, she's gonna go through some shit. She's gonna have some adventures that are maybe a little emotionally rough with Rufy, and she's gonna come out at the end of it kind of a changed person, but she'll return to Earth to be Supergirl. So my pitch is that sometime between the end of Woman and Tomorrow and the Supergirl book of my DC Comics, Kara Zor-El finally really gets her shit together as an Earthling. She gets a side gig as a consulting scientist at Star Labs. She takes up residence in National City, and she starts busting her ass being a superhero. Like, she throws herself into being Supergirl. So much so to the point where she almost forgets to have a personal life, until just one day there's like an inciting incident or something that kind of has this thought, something that she hasn't really thought about since she first arrived on Earth, start sneaking its way back into her head and start really making her question herself, because well, we already talked about a certain Kryptonian half-breed. John Kent exists, which means it's possible for a Kryptonian and a human to have children. And Kara's going to begin to wonder, and I don't want this to be answered in an arc. I want it to be sort of an overarching thing. We could even make it a thematic thing. We're going to finally tackle the question that everybody is too afraid to ask because of naturally the implications of it. As the last female Kryptonian, should Supergirl try to have children?
So it's kind of a take on the ticking baby clock kind of thing. The only thing I would say about that is you definitely need to get a woman to write that book.
Yes, and that is why my pick for that book is a female writer that I really like and is kind of a young up-and-comer, but has also really established herself as a fan favorite at this point.
Mhm.
And then as a backup, a fan favorite female writer, depending on just who jumps at it quickest, I either want Marguerite Scott or Gail Simone.
Okay. Because like the big thing is like, yeah, you can that's definitely an interesting story to tell a Supergirl. The big problem is if you don't do it with the right hands,
Yeah.
it'll come
And
off very, very.
and again, that's why I'm asking questions here. I'm not giving answers, and I'm very much viewing this as here is a pitch for this writer. This is your status quo. Work within the status quo. Don't feel the need to resolve it anytime soon.
Because I think a better question to ask about that is also like, does Supergirl want to be in a relationship right now?
Yeah, and that's certainly a question to tackle because that's the thing. Over the course of this run, it's a thing we're tackling as unpacking everything that goes with this question because it's all
And there's
stuff
other
that
arcs
we've
and stories you can tell with the character because like, is Supergirl bi?
yeah.
Because I don't think there's ever been a time where you just like sat down and looked at and examined and just looked at the relationship and the that kind of status of a character like Supergirl. I don't think I've ever has that ever been a thing in the comics.
Well, here's the thing. Throughout her history, Kara has been depicted as pretty definitively straight, but
I just mean like
she's also had very close friendships with female characters that of course incurred a lot of shipping. And you could certainly play around with that. And I don't know. That's the thing is like as a fan of Supergirl, this isn't like a pervy, nerdy kind of like, yeah, the Supergirl fuck kind of thing. It's just like, no, I genuinely want to have these questions about this character answered, and I am not the person to answer them. I fully acknowledge that.
you would like to see basically her relationship with other people, her romantic interests
Because
explored in a way that is focused on her self-expression.
because that's the thing with Kara. All she's only ever had two types of relationships: idealistic daydream straight couple bliss, or 10 seconds of that and then it turns into an abusive relationship that she has to fight her way out.
I was about to make a Lex Luthor joke, and I was like, "Ah, that's not the right Supergirl."
No.
And I'm not saying, oh, make Supergirl a lesbian. I'm just saying like that could be a couple arcs of her just going like, maybe I'm bi, and she goes on a date with a girl and goes like, you know what? Yeah, I'm bi, and you could explore that for a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be down for that. Hell, like one of the things I've been dying to see them do since the New 52 book ended is bring back Siobhan Snipe, freaking New 52 Silver Banshee. Because that was a thing in the New 52 books. Silver Banshee was there and she wasn't a villain yet. And her and Kara were best friends. They lived together for a little while. And I'm like, if we want to bring her back as a supporting character and even make them a couple, I'd totally be down for that because I really dug their chemistry.
You can definitely see. Again, you have to get the right writers on it. You definitely have to play it with a very deft hand. For lack of a better way of describing it, it's Supergirl Sex in the City.
Kinda, yeah, but also there's a lot of superhero action punctuates.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's what if Supergirl was 80s Peter Parker.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
It's like, oh no, it's Black Cat or Mary Jane. Who do I want to date? Well, Mary Jane just rejected me. I guess I'm just gonna fuck Black Cat. But does she really like Peter Parker or does she like Spider-Man? Like you can explore it with the feminine dynamic on that. Like that could be an interesting book.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But moving away from that, Superman, Son of Kal-El. Now, obviously, this is a book that hasn't even started yet. I think it starts next week or this Wednesday for the listeners. But my basic idea with this is because I don't know what Tom Taylor has in store for the actual book, but what I would like to see is John Kent really try, just really trying to live up to his father's legacy, really fill those shoes. And he's doing a good job, but he's always got that thought of, am I good enough in the back of his head? And one day, a spacefaring old adversary of Superman's. It can be Lobo, it can be Mongol, it can be fucking some Randy from Apocalypse, whoever, I don't care. Just shows up and doesn't wipe the floor with John, but gives him a really good fight and is constantly just going like, "Oh, you're not Superman. I wanted Superman. Why the hell are you wearing this costume? You're not Superman. Do you even know anything about Krypton, dude? Because, like, I watched Krypton blow up when your old man was a baby, and you're just here playing superhero. It's honestly fucking embarrassing. Who the hell are you?" And he starts questioning who he is and his heritage because he realizes he spent time with his grandfather thanks to time travel, but he never really spent any time on Krypton. He doesn't know what Krypton was like. And my big thing for the end of the first issue would be he goes to Kara's apartment and just says, "So what was it like to live on Krypton?" And from there you go, Kara and Khan, the other Superboy, the clone, they are kind of like the Bruce Wayne to his Batman Beyond.
It also gives more flavor to them and not just go like, oh, Superman yet again, you know. Personally, I would think Lobo would be more interesting there because he can be more vicious and rude.
Yeah.
And like, because Mongol doesn't fight Superman because he's Superman. Mongol fights Superman because Superman gets in his way.
Yeah.
But Lobo fights Superman because, yo, this guy's Superman. I like fighting him. He's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be like, personally, I just go like, oh, Lobo.
Yeah, I can.
And I would also have Lobo be a reoccurring character because Lobo.
Yeah, Lobo just shows up at the end of every arc, and he's like, "You've progressed."
But he's also like kind of like,
and Crush is like, "Dad, go away! You're embarrassing me in front of Superman."
But Lobo's basically the bad influence uncle.
Yeah,
you know, he could be like, "Hey kid, you want to smoke?" And Supergirl goes like, "Don't fucking smoke. You're Superman." But
and Khan's like, "Yeah, come to Titan's Tower and have pizza and soda with me and the rest of Young Justice. We're gonna hang out and play video games." Because that's the dynamic I want between Kara and Khan. Like, Kara is sort of the strict educational mentor, whereas Khan is kind of the fun, enjoy your powers mentor.
it's not their Bruce Wayne; it's their Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson.
Yeah, but like, I don't know.
Also, older siblings, because that's just how their dynamic would
definitely be. Because like that's always been a big thing with me with John and Kara. Is I've always wanted more interaction between them. And I've always very specifically just wanted that scene of John going to Kara and being like, "So what was it like living on Krypton? I genuinely want to know." And I just picture her like tearing up a little and sitting down and talking with him as like fade to black. And like that being like one of the happiest moments of her life. Of, oh God, I can finally impart some of this legacy.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I imagine her and Superman would have that conversation at least once or twice.
Yeah,
but it's also going to be Superman going like, "Oh yeah, I read that in a book."
Yeah, I think for them it would be a bit different. Whereas John's just like, I genuinely don't know, because remember, there was a little bit of time with John in the mainline DC universe, but pretty quickly Bendis coming in and taking over everything. Rogol-Zar fucks up the data tapes. That shit's not there for him to reference anymore.
Yeah, I'm still sorry for DC about how they took Bendis off our hands.
But that is Superman Son of Kal-El, which just because like I don't want to be a dick to him before his book even gets started, I would just put Tom Taylor back on that.
Yeah.
And then finally for the Super family, Superwoman, which essentially I would want this is the one book that I'm like, this is probably a limited series, because I want this to just be wrapping up the Rebirth Superwoman book, because I told you about this off mic last week, but for those of you who aren't familiar, in the New 52, there was a Superwoman book that was essentially a modern take on the Superman Red and Superman Blue concept, with the New 52 alternate versions of Lois and Lana being Superwoman together. And that book kind of ended on a cliffhanger with Lois dying and Lana being left on her own with all the powers. And I would just be like, let's just do a nice little book wrapping up that character and getting her to a nicer place. And you know who's really good about doing kind of wholesome stuff about healing and finding who you are in the face of a new situation? G. Willow Wilson. Let's throw G.
Yeah.
Willow Wilson on Superboy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And that is the whole Super Family books. And then we get into the Bat Family, and this is probably the family that obviously I ended up having the most pitches for. And probably DC in actuality would too, because the Bat Family just sells better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So for the mainline Batman book, what I want to do is Bruce is probably having the most literal midlife crisis of any of the big three, because obviously he's going to have to stop doing this sooner than Clark and Diana just because of his mortality. And he's realizing that he's getting a little older, he's getting a little slower, and he may not be doing this that much longer. He may not have that much time with his kids that much longer. And he wants to kind of set things right and make sure that he's going to leave things in a good place and that the mission will carry on after him. And I kind of want it to be, again, a series of shorter arcs about Bruce just going on missions with his kids or even with his wife, because we're gonna finally bite the bullet and just have Catwoman move into Wayne Manor. Because at the end of Tom King's Batman, they're married, but they're not living together because Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle can't be seen together because Selina Kyle has a fucking massive rap sheet, and we're just gonna find some pull out of our ass way to explain that that's fine now. All right, because I want the wholesome Bat Family content from this book of just like Bruce going on outings with all the various members of the Bat Family, and kind of also maybe considering if he should have an actual kid, and maybe we should canonize Batcat and make Helena Wayne a thing in mainline DC continuity, please.
So here's my first question. It's like, how many members of the Bat Family are there going to be in total? Because we have the 4 Robins: Dick, Jason, Tim, and Damian.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the secondary Robins: Spoiler, Casey. Those they are at the level of Robin, but they're not Robin all the time.
You mean Kathy, the girl from Returns?
No. There's the blonde. She was blonde. She was
Stephanie Brown. Spoiler.
Stephanie Brown, and Casey. She's the mute Asian assassin.
You're thinking of Cassandra Cain,
Cain.
Who is Orphan or Black Bat, depending on who you're asking. But then you have Barbara Gordon, Oracle, Batgirl. You also have Huntress. You have Catwoman is technically a member of the Bat Family. You have Bluebird, a character that Scott Snyder introduced, and unlike most of his stuff, I do actually quite like that character. I'd like to see her used more. You have Duke Thomas, aka The Signal. And
is Gotham Girl still around?
Yes, Gotham Girl is still around. And you have Gordon.
And of course you have Alfred.
Alfred is currently dead. And I would say let's go ahead and keep Alfred dead, just because like that helps with the whole old age, getting up there, not going to be around much longer thing for Bruce.
It also gives Bruce something other to brood about other than his parents.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that would be kind of my pitch for the mainline DC book. And I'm going to put your favorite guy on this. I'm going to put your favorite fucking guy. A guy who really knows how to write about family and family drama and issues, and also can do some really good, wholesome stuff, especially with oddball outcast characters.
This is writing Batman.
Oh, Brian. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, he does do better with street level stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's just, I don't know. I got a feeling.
And I mean, if you can write Daredevil, you can write Batman.
And like, I haven't heard great things, but I have heard good things about his Batman Walmart book.
I mean, Comic Pop loved the fuck out of it.
Mm-hmm. So like, you know, give him this status quo, this mission statement, and see what he does. And then, of course, you have Detective Comics, which would be very much the same thing as Action Comics. We already really talked about how that would work. But then I would want there to be a Catwoman ongoing. And there is a Catwoman ongoing currently at DC. I've not read a whole bunch of it, but I've heard really good things. It's written and drawn by Joelle Jones.
Real quick, I just had a thought. I want to go back to the Detective Comics. What if there's an overarching, like, kind of framing device thematic element throughout the books of the GCPD?
Yeah, you could kind of bring back that spirit of Gotham City Central with that.
But it's kind of like, not necessarily every issue is a crime the GCPD is solving, but like the stories kind of emanate from the police department. You know,
Yeah.
I heard this one thing about this one place. Blah 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 blah.
Definitely. But my idea for Catwoman is basically that for all her life, Selina Kyle has kind of been the untamable beast. She's always enjoyed taunting Bruce with the fact of like, oh, I'm a creature of the night like you, and I'm never gonna settle down, and we're two of a kind, and blah blah blah. But now she's actually trying to be domesticated because she's living in Wayne Manor. She's going to social functions with Bruce as Selina, and she's having to put up with these hoity-toity assholes who she would normally be robbing.
And Bruce just looks at her and goes like, "See, it ain't that easy, is it?"
Mm-hmm. And she finds that she actually needs some stress relief from this. And when we start the book, she will have put away the Catwoman persona. She will have said, "Okay, I'm taking a break from this. I'm gonna try just being the good house cat for a little bit." But because you got to deal with some irritating motherfuckers, she's gonna go, "Oh, so this is why you beat up criminals every night." And he goes, "Well, it's one of like 1,000 reasons, but yes." And so she's gonna make a new costume and start being Catwoman and going on cases with him, or going on cases that he gives her and stuff like that, and branching off and doing her own thing.
Here's the thing. I'm playing the writer. I want to pitch it a little bit, modify it a little bit. She goes on Mission Impossible things to steal things, like tied into the big museum controversy that we're kind of sitting in right now. Of like, oh, museums own things that don't belong to them that should go to their home countries. That could be something that like Selina Kyle does. Of like, oh, you're an asshole. You don't deserve some of this.
Yeah, that could definitely be a concept. I'd be down for that.
I'm not saying like, but like that could be a part of it. Like, yeah, she'll help out Batman. Yeah, she'll fight crime, but also like, fuck you for stealing this thing. And she only actually goes after things that are like, she can confirm's been stolen, because if she just goes after things that she has a hunch Batman's gonna be angry at her, he'll forgive her. But like, she doesn't want to do that to him, kind of thing. That's just my idea. My kind of modification to the pitch.
Yeah. But then there will be Nightwing, which I'm basically just going to leave untouched. Just Tom Taylor's doing a great job on that book, with Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon, and Tim Drake trying to clean up Bloodhaven. Just let Tom Taylor keep doing his thing there. He's fine. He's fine. He doesn't need any guidance from this asshole.
Only one rule: make Nightwing's butt fucking juicy.
Oh, you say that like he's not already doing that.
I'm just saying, that's the only rule you need to have for Nightwing.
Yeah, we need a juicy ass shot per issue. There's gonna be a quota of like 3 per issue. Let's go. But then we're gonna have a book that's kind of a major departure, and that will be The Red Hood, which is going to be Jason Todd basically going like, man, I've been a lot of things in my life. I've been a street rat, I've been a Robin, I've been dead, I've been Red Hood. You know what I want to be now? I want to be a civil rights activist, because I've been on the street, I've been down in the mud, I've been homeless. I know the kind of shit people can be through in this city. And Bruce has his way of changing things, and it certainly works on one level. And I've tried to change things in a more stream version of that. And neither of us are really making all that much progress. It's all so incremental. I want to try the original. I want to just give it a shot. So he starts running for office in Gotham. I don't know what office in particular I'd pick, but do leave it up to the writer.
Don't make it too big, but make it city council.
Yeah, city council, maybe like alderman or something. But
I can immediately see how to like do this on the first book. He's walking through Gotham and he just sees like a corner of a building just full of spikes. Because this is a real thing that happens. And he just goes to the door guy and goes like, "What are the fucking spikes for?" "Oh, it's to make it so homeless people can't sleep there." "What? But where else are they gonna fucking go?" "Not our problem." "Oh, buddy, it's gonna be our problem." And then you see at night, Red Hood is there with just a giant ass chainsaw, just
yeah. Yeah, his whole campaign will be basically based on rights for homeless people. And sort of fighting for that. And he's even going to invent his own party. He's going to be running under the Red Hood Party. Which is basically, it sounds like it's ultra conservative, but it's actually ultra liberal.
You can even do like a cool little arc about that of like his PR person going like, "I don't think that's a good idea. Remember, the Red Hood was a criminal." "Yeah, but why was he a criminal?"
And that actually plays into the last bit I have about this is the Red Hood superhero persona will still be around because crime lords are not going to like this idea because they hire homeless people left and right because they can abuse the shit out of them. So they're going to start trying to assassinate Jason Todd, and the Red Hood's always going to be there to stop.
You're pulling a fucking Iron Man with Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the Red Hood's my bodyguard.
More like, don't worry, I bought the Red Hood off so that we could have a little extra security. And who am I going to put on this? Who's going to be tackling the kind of political, kind of goofy but very street level book? Well, how about the guy who wrote my favorite Daredevil? How about Mark Waid?
Ooh, yeah, that could work. That could definitely fucking work.
Mm-hmm. And that is that book. That's my pitch for the Red Hood. And then we have Batgirls, plural. Because this is going to be a book that's led by both Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown. And I want the book to basically open with them kind of commiserating in a diner and going like, Stephanie's kind of just like rambling on to Cass, going like, I don't hate being a spoiler, but I was Batgirl, and you were Batgirl, and nobody acts like they remember that anymore. Now we're just two other people on the sidelines. People think of Robins before they think of us, and like everybody thought you were in line to be Bruce's successor at one point, and now look at us. It's 3 a.m. and we're sitting here eating nachos and drinking milkshakes when we should be sleeping or fighting crime or something more important than this. What has happened to our lives? And Cass is just like, I don't know. I just go with the flow. That's my philosophy now. And Stephanie's like, that's an excellent idea. We should take that to its furthest fucking extreme. We should put our old costumes back on. We should both be Batgirl. And we should start a travel vlog. We should go around the country helping people out as Batgirl and just take ownership of the name again. Because Barbara's not using it. She's back to being Oracle. There's no Batgirl right now. So we can both be Batgirl. It doesn't matter. There's no rules. Let's have fun. And it's going to be a fun, sort of globe-trotting, just cutesy book that can hopefully attract more women and young girls specifically to comics. I want this to be something that isn't necessarily dumbed down for kids, but you could hand to your 10-year-old daughter and let her read. And because of that, my choice for writer is somebody who did the last book that I would describe that way and kind of excels at doing books I would write that way. The guy who wrote Princeless and the Unstoppable Wasp, Jeremy White.
I can definitely see cool things being done with that book. And I can definitely see like Barbara Gordon kind of being like, "Girls, what are you doing? Please don't. Stop. No."
Yeah.
Bruce is going to have to write such a big check.
Mm-hmm. They steal one of the Batmobiles or something.
No, you know exactly the Batmobile they need to steal. the 60s one, because it's a convertible.
Yeah. They just Thelma and Louise this shit.
And you go through the first arc and they steal the Batmobile and they just get a call and go like, who's this? Hello? Did you enjoy the car? Fuck, it's Bruce. Yeah? Alright, just make sure it's filled up when you bring it back. Have fun.
Or like, I'm assigning you a chaperone just to be sure, and it's Chief O'Hara.
No, you could do really fun things with that. Like, you could just travel to all the major, like, DC cities.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind
And
of
I
like...
would really have it be like people type in the comments of their travel vlog and say, hey, I live here, I'm having this problem. If you're coming here soon, could you help me out? And like they go meet up with that person, and it leads to some comic book bullshit.
Yeah. But there's also just as many comments about like, yo, if you ever go here, fucking eat here. It's the best fucking pizza you'll ever have, bro.
Mm-hmm. And of course they accrue thousands of cents.
Dude, you could do a whole arc about that. Wait, hold on. Is there a techie villain in DC other than like Brainiac and Cyborg Superman?
Oh, I'm trying to remember his name. There's the guy with the remote control from Teen Titans.
He's the fucking Sip. There's an arc where they fight him.
Yes.
There's an arc where they hang out and do a tour of Titan Towers.
Mm-hmm.
Like a full-on, yo, dude, this is a house tour. What's up?
And Dick is there, and he's like, "This is a functioning school now. Can you not?" Because I don't know if you know that's a thing. Titans Academy is a thing right now.
Because everything has an academy.
And that does actually work into my pitch, but we'll get to that later. All right. My final book for the Bat family is Robin. We're going to have a Robin ongoing, and it's, of course, going to be focused on one Damian Wayne. And my idea is Damian is out to prove something. He has a chip on his shoulder that has never quite gone away, despite being pretty much accepted by the Titans and the Bat family now. He still feels like he has something to prove. He still feels like he's got some dirt, some skeletons in his closet that he needs to deal with. And he
his ledger.
Yeah, exactly. And he realizes the best way to do that is to finally fight his mom for control of League of the Assassins.
Okay.
And that's the book. Very simple pitch. Just Damian is trying to take control of the League of Assassins, and eventually he will get control.
Question, is Tim Drake just kind of like a rotating supporting cast member in all these books?
Mm-hmm. Tim Drake,
Okay.
They tried to make him, Bendis tried to make him Drake for a minute there. He tried to make a new superhero identity for him so he wouldn't have the confusion, but the costume sucked and everybody hated the name. So now he's just back to, he's Red Robin, but he looks like Robin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just see him like floating through all the different books.
Yeah.
Like-
I kind of keep his home base Nightwing because he works really good as a supporting character in that book right now. But he can float. He can float. I'd have every like I said, the Bat family book is going to have a lot of arcs that feature a lot of the kids. Bruce is going to guest star on Cass and Steph's travel vlog at some point. That kind of shit'll go down.
I just want to see the scene where they get Batman in a travel vlog.
Mm-hmm.
No, they have two travel vlogs. One where they're Cass and Steph going around eating food, visiting tourist shops, and one where they're Batwoman and they're fighting crime.
Yeah. This week on the vlog,
I'm excited for
Wayne.
I'm actually excited for that book. That sounds like it'd be a fun thing.
Yeah, that was one of the pitches I was genuinely most proud of. So I'm glad you like that.
Hell yeah.
And then we have the Wonder Woman family of books. And this is something where I feel the need to preface. I don't know a whole lot about Wonder Woman. It's not my area of expertise. I've only read like a handful of Wonder Woman things. So if my pitch comes off as a bit disingenuous towards the character, I apologize up front, Wonder Woman fans. This is just what I think would be a fun thing to do with Wonder Woman. And that's to copy Hickman X-Men. Because think about it. Diana Prince went to the world of men with the mission of showing the world of men the Amazonian ideals of being this ambassador of Themyscira, while also absorbing what the world of men has become and bringing it back to her people. And you got to think, we're aging her up a bit. it's a little further on in continuity. We've had 80 plus years of her dealing with shit in the DC universe. And you gotta imagine she's getting tired of our bullshit. She's looking at us and going like, okay, so how many wars are you guys gonna have? How long are you gonna keep letting the climate go to shit? What the fuck is going on here? Why do you all of you, not just the men, but some of the women around here too, act like Marty children? This is ridiculous. And I've spent my entire life trying to be a glowing example to you people, and some of you have picked it up, but a lot of you haven't. And it's time we really did something to work off of that. So I'm going to take my fortune that we're going to establish. She has a fortune that she's kind of built up over the years just through good investing and interest accruing in bank accounts. Like she took Themyscira's wealth and put it into the capitalism system and made bank. And so
Also, just like put a caveat without compromising her morals. Like
Yes,
he never
of course.
invests in companies that like did shitty things.
yeah, she would always pull investments if she saw some shitty activity.
Same thing with Batman. That's what Batman does.
Yeah.
Batman is the only ethical billionaire.
Neither of them have ever put a dollar into LexCorp, and Lex holds it against them on a personal level.
Dick.
But she pulls all the money out and she goes, I'm just going to buy a bunch of private islands all across the globe, and we're going to establish the Themysciran colonies. And anyone from around the world, man, woman, or child, who wants to come and live on these colonies and live by the ideals and the laws of Themyscira can. And we're just gonna establish our own little sort of mini empire kind of a thing. But we're not really threatening to anyone. And the entire political structure of the DC universe goes, oh, you're really fucking threatening, and we're freaked the fuck out. What the hell is going on? And that's
I only would say this: you need to have one big non-traditional Wonder Woman power player go like, I want to live there. Fully, honestly, completely buying into it. But like, I want to live there. Like Shazam. Like imagine Shazam just going like, yeah, no, I want to be there. Can I be there?
Dr. Light.
Dr. Light. Because they're also friends because of Justice League Dark.
Yeah.
But that's like what I'm saying, like to really justify it, because Wonder Woman by herself is like, okay, yeah, no, we're gonna keep an eye on that. But if Wonder Woman and Dr. Light do it, it's like, oh no.
And the writer I would want to helm the main Wonder Woman book, which would kind of be Diana doing superhero stuff, but also really heavily dealing with the fact of like, oh god, I'm in charge of all these different groups of people now. Kelly Sue DeConnick. Bring in Kelly Sue DeConnick to write that book. Sensation Comics would be brought back for this as sort of the equivalent of Action or Detective, but also I would very heavily focus all the arcs on it on just dealing with regular people on the Themysciran colonies. Get to know the world of the Themysciran colonies. And we can bring in established Wonder Woman cast members for that, certainly. But also just maybe do some done-in-ones with random civilians. Make up some new characters. Let's have some fun here.
I can definitely see it being more of like, still has that anthology feel, but more like, say, like if we're going Hickman Mutants, like New Mutants, where it's just like exploring different people on the island.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. And then Wonder Girl. So do you know the current status quo of Wonder Girl?
Isn't her current status, is this always a fucked up current status?
That's Donna Troy.
Okay.
There's technically 3 Wonder Girls now. There's Donna Troy, who was the original Wonder Girl.
Who has like 1001 origins.
Yeah. There's Cassie Sandsmark, who was Wonder Girl on Young Justice. And then there's the current Wonder Girl, who is Yara Flor. And I actually don't know very much about her because she's brand new. She just debuted last year. And she's pretty much been exclusively written by Joelle Jones. Joelle Jones is kind of the G. Willow Wilson to her Kamala Khan. And because of that, I'm just going to say, like, yeah, Joelle Jones, keep doing your thing, but also because from what I gather on Wikipedia, the idea behind this Wonder Woman is she is the new champion of the Amazons. she's the defender of the Themysciran colonies. You kind of have her be like a chief of security type of character.
He's Themyscira's Thor to Wonder Woman's Odin.
Yeah, except Hippolyta is still around, but like she mainly deals with mainland Themyscira.
But you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
she's Scott. She's Cyclops.
Yeah. And then the final book I have for this is Steve Trevor. I want a Steve Trevor ongoing because I want to see the other side of all of this. Because I said there's going to be political shockwaves. Steve Trevor is alive and well, and he's a high-ranking official in the United States military, and he's trying to keep them from blowing up his ex-girlfriend.
May I just make one change to the title?
Mm-hmm.
Steve Trevor and the Blackhawks.
Fuck yeah. And also the
It's
writer
like-
the writer would be Kyle Higgins. Because Kyle Higgins works with those kind of side characters.
But like, I just think that'd be a fun, like, because it's also like, I don't know, Blackhawks are cool.
They are cool.
The Blackhawks are just a dope thing from DC Comics, you know?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that'll be the status of the Wonder Family. And then we have the JLU, which is
Everyone else.
Which, yeah, and essentially I'm going to have this be a series of team books where nobody else is going to have like a big ongoing, but if you want to pitch an idea for a miniseries, feel free to, or a maxi series. If you want to pitch a mini or a maxi, feel free to, and if it seems like a good story, sure, go ahead. But for the most part, I want everybody else to be relegated to teams or guest appearances because, like, to be honest with you, as a DC fan, I love Green Arrow, but when a Green Arrow ongoing is happening, I'm just happy that it's going. I never get particularly interested in it. I like Hawkman. I never get particularly interested in a Hawk book. I like Aquaman. I never get particularly interested in an Aquaman. Everybody says they like the Green Lanterns, but the last time everybody was like super invested in Green Lantern was when Jeff Johns was majorly changing the way Green Lantern worked.
Yeah.
So just kind of consolidate all the big players onto teams, and anyone else you can pull in when you need to.
Nothing says that like they can't be the focus of an arc. Say like, I don't know what your plan is, so I'm just going like, so say Green Lantern's on the Justice League, and for this arc, it's a Green Lantern focused arc.
Mm-hmm. That would definitely be the idea. But
so you can have Green Lantern ongoing stories without having a Green Lantern ongoing.
The general status quo for all these books within this family is going to be that with the Big Three otherwise occupied, Oliver Queen, Ted Kord, and John Jones are all gonna kind of get together and go like, so without Superman and Batman, there's kind of no centralized command amongst superheroes anymore, and we just have the Watchtower. Maybe we should do something about this. How about we kind of reorganize everything? We buy a whole bunch of new hardware and stuff like that, and we make the Justice League Unlimited as a sort of non-profit organization, a corporation that unites all superheroes on the earth of the DC universe.
I just add one word.
What's up?
Cooperative.
Sure. Justice League Unlimited isn't a book. It's an organization co-owned by Queen and Cord Industries that just basically serves as a way of financing the heroes of the DC universe and allowing them to function in a more organized manner, a more targeted manner. And that splits off into a bunch of different books. First and foremost being Justice League of America. And I basically have team lineups. It's 7 characters per book and a very general mission statement. So Justice League of America is going to be Green Arrow, Black Canary, Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes will be Booster Gold, Animal Man, Vixen, and Wildcat. And they're going to be dealing with street level problems. They're going to be protecting the average citizen kind of a thing.
So it's much more of like, oh no, Doc Ock. I'm using Marvel stuff, but no, Doc Ock is attacking the bank. Who's going to help us?
Yeah, that kind of shit. But it can get slightly crazier than that if it needs to. I don't consider it poaching because there's no exclusive contracts these days. But I want Chip Zdarsky to write this. And also, this is my dream fantasy booking, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, Chip is currently writing a DC book.
Yeah, and he writes a hella good Spider-Man. And what is Spider-Man if not the everyman of the Marvel universe?
Yep.
And then you have the Justice League of Earth, the JLE. And that is going to be Green Lantern John Stewart, Batwoman, Aquaman, Power Girl, Barry Allen Flash, Hawkgirl, and Red Tornado. And they're going to be dealing with problems that are on a global scale.
Alien
invasions, natural disasters, stopping wars before they happen. Like, they'll probably cross paths with Diana a good bit.
Okay.
That kind of a thing. And I'm going to put Rick Remender on it.
And if you want to go more in the adventure style route for that book, you can definitely do that.
Mm-hmm. And then there will be the Justice League of Soul, our intergalactic team. And they are going to be Martian Manhunter, Hal Jordan Green Lantern, Adam Strange, Hawkman, Captain Atom, Mr. Miracle, and Big Barda. And they defend Earth and the wider Soul galaxy from intergalactic threats. Like, it's their job to stop alien invasions before they become alien invasions. And also, they're kind of an intergalactic outreach program where Jean is kind of going like, hey, maybe, everybody else has space travel and Earth's kind of starting to get some real space travel. Maybe we should try and make some friends, which leads to comedy because Hal Jordan is a perpetual dickhead.
Oh, kind of like Sword.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of idea.
And a nicer Sword, because Sword can kind of be an asshole sometimes.
Yeah, all the dickery on the Justice League, the JLS's part, is just completely accidental. It's Hal Jordan going, "I'm Captain Kirk," and everybody going like, "Nobody likes Captain Kirk."
Some green ladies like Captain Kirk. No, they like Captain Kirk's dick.
Yeah. And do you see any green ladies here? When was the last time you even had sex with a green lady? When was the last time you had sex with Carol? Because I heard you two were on the outs again.
Hey, just because I'm sleeping on the couch doesn't bring it up.
Well, then stop fucking up every political meeting we have.
But I'm Hal Jordan. I'm the best Green Lantern. I'm a hero.
No, dude, the best Green Lantern is on the other team. It's gonna be my book of just giving the middle finger to Jeff Johns.
Hal Jordan's cool though. He's fine.
Hal Jordan's cool in his own way, but he is not the best Green Lantern. Not by a country fucking mile. Okay, so the final Justice League team, and then there's a couple other things. Mm-hmm. The final Justice League team is going to be the Justice League Dark. We're going to keep that book around.
Okay.
And my lineup for Justice League Dark would be Zatanna, John Constantine, Etrigan, Swamp Thing, The Spectre, Dr. Fate, and Neil Gaiman's Death.
Is he still around?
She?
Oh, Death, right. I was thinking of Dream. I was like, what the fuck? Dream's not around.
No. Death is still around. She still pops up in DC Comics from time to time.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking, isn't Dream like a weird white ghost dude like now?
Mm-hmm. And like, I wouldn't have Death be like a superhero, but she's like a consultant who they always like check with. Like, are we doing the right thing here? Are you about to screw us over and take this guy's soul? And she's like, no, I don't care about this guy. He's like 50 years off. Just do what you got to do. Whatever. And it's basically just them trying to keep the balance between the magical world and the physical. It's that kind of crazy magical bullshit adventure stuff. And because she's there, I feel like we should at least offer Neil Gaiman the job.
Yeah, fair enough. He probably the big thing I could see is like Neil Gaiman wouldn't probably want to do it as a full ongoing. He'd go like, I'll do like the first 12 issues, kind of help set it up. Yeah. But I got other things I want to do. So
and speaking of people who would do that, I realized that I didn't say who would be writing the Justice League of Soul. It's everybody's favorite drug-taking, gender non-conforming writer, Grant Morrison. Have Grant Morrison write the intergalactic book.
See that. Also, but he did just recently say, "I don't want to write for DC anymore." But maybe you can convince him because you're new blood.
Yeah. I'm like,
Convince
please,
them. Convince them.
please, you're part of the reason I got into comics. Please, be that kind of a thing. But then we have Titans, and we're gonna take the Titans books because I'm gonna have 3 books. I'm gonna have the Titans, Teen Titans, and Young Justice, and I'm going to take the Titans Academy concept, and I'm going to say Oliver and Ted just showed up and went, yo, we love what you're doing. We want to help bankroll it, but we also want to be able to pop in every once in a while and offer guidance and potentially one day offer some of these kids spots on Justice League teams. We want this to be like the developmental arm of the Justice League. This is the NXT of our main roster, but we're not going to bury them. And Dick and Corey are both like, it's a little sus, but all right. Yeah, sure, why not? We've known you for years. We can trust you. And so the Titans is going to be kind of a straight superhero team book. It's just going to be the original Titans continuing the original New Teen Titans. Continuing, we are superheroes, but also we're teaching all these kids and how do you balance that and our interpersonal relationship stuff and just fun Titans things, just fun things with those characters. And Teen Titans, I would have be kind of the same thing, but from the other perspective, just different arcs with different sets of students dealing with things, with growing up with superpowers, kind of what it's like being at that school, and also going on missions with their mentors. And for Titans and Teen Titans, I want to bring in some new blood. I want to do something a little wild, a little fancy, a little fun, a little something that kind of calls back to a choice I made with the fantasy booking I did on my own channel for Power Rangers Megaforce. A very something only I can get away with in this situation. Louis Lovehog is in charge of the Titans and Teen Titans.
Okay.
We're making his dreams come true.
Okay. Linkara on this bit.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, yeah. Kind of a thing. And then for Young Justice, I basically just want it to be done in one fun, very much the same thing as Batgirls, of just this is like a cutesy fun book with that team, that classic Young Justice team, but you can hand this to your kids. You can say, here's a good entry point into the DC universe. Just get to know these characters and have some fun. And I would put Jean Luen Yang on that. And if you're not familiar with him, he wrote New Super Dash Man and Superman Smashes the Klan. Those are the 2 things I know him from.
Right. Yeah, it could definitely work.
And those would be, that's all the books that we start off with. Every book I just pitched, that's like our opening slate for the first 6 months. And then we can, based on market research, we can retire some things. We can add some new things in. We can start doing some mini series here and there. We can do a maxi series or 2. But I would just try and keep that going for like a solid 2 years. A solid 2 years of just, this is how the DC universe functions right now. And we're not doing an event. We're not doing a major shakeup for a little bit until that 2-year mark passes. And then I'm just going straight for the pun. We're doing midlife crisis. And it's basically just going to be a very classic, very big, bombastic, everybody gets involved crisis story, but centering around the big three as characters and kind of bringing them back into the fold. Because they've been doing their own thing for 2 years. They've been kind of wrapped up in their own mortality. And this is going to make them like kind of wake up and realize that we still have a responsibility to the larger DC universe. And like, oh, look at all this stuff everybody else has been doing. Hey, there's still hope for the future. Ain't that nice?
A little mini Kingdom Come.
Yeah. Kingdom Come without the overt cynicism of Kingdom Come. Like, it's nobody's fault that the big three were distracted. It's just one of those things that happens in life sometimes.
Right. I can totally get where you're going with some of that kind of thing, but some of my low-key fave characters, like, what about Deadman? Can I just use Deadman where I want?
Do you want to do a Deadman mini? You got a story for a Deadman mini? Let's do it. That was like, all right, here's everything I want. What do you guys want? You got some ideas? With
Are you
other
considering
stuff?
Milestone an imprint? Or is
Yeah.
like any? Okay.
Milestone is pretty much an imprint. I don't know because it hasn't exactly kicked off yet. If that new Milestone initiative they're doing is in mainline continuity or not.
But right now you're considering its own continuity.
Yeah, that Vertigo, Black Label. Like I said, anything that's an imprint, it's allowed to do whatever it wants. It's like Galactus. It's over there.
It's over there. I'm trying to think of any other teams that could be interesting to like, because there's like also like, here's another thing. It's like Plastic Man.
Mm-hmm.
He's technically a Bat character.
We could do an arc of Bendis.
He's from Gotham.
And with Plastic Man.
He's from Gotham. But like, should he show up in the Bat books? Is like is he under that purview or is he under like the Unlimited purview?
I would say
like,
both, honestly.
That's like,
people kind of consider him just a general DC character. The fact that he's from Gotham is borderline deep knowledge.
No, like that's part of his origin though. Is Batman spooked him, he got into some goo and was like, fuck, I have powers now. I don't want to be a criminal anymore.
Yeah. I've read Plastic Man's I used to own Plastic Man's origin.
Plastic Man's a cool character.
My dad way back when. Oh God, this is something I haven't thought about in ages. Thank you for waking up this memory. There was a time when my dad was selling comics on eBay for a neighbor, and just tons of old issues of Batman, and in there was Plastic Man's origin.
Would Doom Patrol be one of those books that you go like, pitch me a mini, or should it be an ongoing team book?
I would say it probably needs to be an ongoing team book, but as I have it written out here, you'd pitch me a mini, and if you give me a really damn good pitch, I might just go, do you want to do an ongoing? Because it sounds like you want to do an ongoing, and we can do an ongoing. We got space.
Yeah. And there's so basically those are the general things, and like any character's kind of open for the play box if it makes sense and you can put them into the story.
Again, my big thing of just like, don't do this is if a character is dead, we can't bring them back until at least that run where they died wraps up.
Dead is dead for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a question. That's kind of your general overall continuity.
And also, on top of that, don't introduce characters just to kill them off. If you're going to give somebody like a kid or a new sidekick, you better be wanting them to be around for a few years.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What's the general continuity for the rest of the world? Like, I don't, like, again, my brain's Marvel, but I'm pretty sure that Dinosaur Island...
Yeah, Dinosaur Island exists. We can
Starro,
go
things like where is the Starro thing that's just son of Batman? You did not mention that character once.
I'm not actually sure I know what you're talking about.
Starro
the Conqueror?
No, there is a tiny version of Starro the Conqueror that Batman has in a jar and has adopted.
Oh yeah, he still has that. We can have an arc with that in Bendis's Batman book. Sure,
They're
why not?
sentient. And they go like, "I'm son of Batman. I am part of the Bat family."
He shows up in the Damian book. There's a Starro versus the League of Assassins as an arc in that. Yeah, sure, why not?
Hell yeah. So here's a big question. Like,
oh God, I never said who was on the fucking Damian Robin book. Charles Soule.
Okay.
I think Charles Soule could write a mean Damian.
Is crossovers going to be one of the things of like you pitch and you work it out kind of thing?
Yeah. Like I said, it's very much just a communication process. Like Batman will probably be constantly crossing over with other Bat family books, but it'll be very much like you guys are writing this together. For this arc, Bendis and whoever is writing the other book is the co-author. Okay. And it's the editor's responsibility to make sure everybody is getting their fair share of creative space.
I'm trying to think of any, like, because that's a lot of, like, good, those are a lot of good setups for the first year of comic. And then a writer can, like, go on and forth from that. Mm-hmm. So here, like, most of my questions is, like, little tiny editorial, like, not editorial, like, continuity questions. Like, what's the situation with metahumans, do you think would be in your continuity? Like, how common are metahumans?
I would kind of go back to the idea that metahuman is just a slang term for superpowered person. Like, it's not necessarily a mutant thing. We're not going to treat it like it's a big issue. There's not metahuman rights and all that, because that just bogs things down. That makes things a little harder to get through for some characters. It's an extra element that gets tacked on to some people. So I'd have it take more of a back seat.
Is there any major differences in cosmology?
What would you be concerned about in that regard?
The state of the Green Lantern Corps, how are they like the Green Lantern Corps, or is it like we're a little bit like shorthanded right now, we got like 5 Green Lanterns kind of situation?
They're the Green Lantern Corps. They're
Okay.
just off in space doing their thing. It's a little weird that there's a bunch of Green Lanterns of Earth. We make jokes about that every once in a while, all police state, but it's not a big deal.
Is New Gods going to be a team book? Should that be a thing, or should it be like a background radiation?
I would say maybe in the second year we make New Gods an additional sector. Like we try and launch a group of New Gods books.
So like it'd be Mr. Miracle and Bug and
because remember, Mr. Miracle and Barda are on one of the Justice League teams right now.
right. That was just that was a thought because it's a DC. You're gonna bring in the dark side.
Mm-hmm. You could even have Darkseid be a major component in Midlife Crisis if you want.
I am looking for the mid anti-life equation.
Why do you want it? It has less power than the regular anti-life equation. I'm trying to continue my collection. My hobby is very finite and boring.
I'm trying to think of any like other. Ooh, is Charleston? Is there any significance with Charleston Comics? Or they're just fully integrated still?
Yeah, they're fully integrated. They can do what they want. I mean, Ted Kord is technically part of all the Justice League teams. He's an overseer.
Watchmen.
I would just leave that as it is after Doomsday Clock. Okay. I don't have any big ideas for what to do with those characters.
But thinking about that, Justice Society and League of Superheroes, how would you want that kind of integrated?
I'm going to be wholly honest. I don't give a flying fuck about the League of Superheroes or the Legion of Superheroes. I just don't. I don't know anything about them. I don't like pairing Brainiac 5 up with Supergirl. It always feels awkward to me. Like that's the most opinion I have on that. Otherwise, I'm just like, I don't care. You know,
if you want them.
If Jonathan Hickman wants to be poached to DC Comics, he can start a Legion of Superheroes imprint. That's as much as I would say. And the Justice Society, yeah, we could bring them back as a team for the JLU.
I have a pitch for that.
Okay.
They are also a teaching staff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Titans is high school, they're college.
Ooh, yeah.
So they go harder on the students. The students are a little bit older, so there's a little bit more, like, adult themes and adult conflicts of, like, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're teaching the new Teen Titans while the new Teen Titans are teaching the students of Titans Academy kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think I have Booster Gold. Where would he be in?
He's popping in and out of Justice League books, annoying Superman and Batman. He tries to live on one of the Themysciran colonies for a week and it doesn't work out. He's a joke. He's like a regular recurring gag.
I can just imagine him just sleeping on Ted Kord's couch.
Yeah.
Hey Ted, you want any help with the Justice League stuff? Yeah, I can use some help today. Come on.
Crashes a javelin. That's not how they.
There's another team book that needs to be talked about. Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad are a thing. I wouldn't give them a new book right away because they've been saturated at this point.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. I'm just saying, like, that is a good, consistent book that people really do enjoy.
Mm-hmm. My thing would be like, Suicide Squad exists. They're off doing their thing. But if you want a book about it, give me a good pitch.
Oh, it's very much on the writer who should be on the book.
Uh-huh.
Who the team is.
Yeah. Like, okay. I think at this point we kind of have the general pop culture idea of the Suicide Squad usually features like Harley Quinn and Captain Boomerang and a couple others, and you change them out and rotate them and have fun with them.
Nobody be an interesting get for Suicide Squad.
Who?
Parasite. Ooh. The Superman villain.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Also, just one other thing to throw in for fun. I'm gonna keep the thing we're doing right now in Infinite Frontier. Harley and Ivy are a couple, and they're very happy.
Okay. No major changes with villains, I assume, unless like the writer comes up with something interesting.
Yeah, again, it's just pitch it to me, and if I think it sounds cool, we'll do it. No, like one face kind of bullshit going on.
What would be the policy for not for creating and killing, but like that, the current trend of like creating a character, so if that story ever gets adapted into a thing, you get residuals. What would you think the general policy for something like that should be?
I mean, are you asking, should I change how people get paid for that, or
however you want to take it? Because like, I don't know. It's just a thing that's been happening in comics. It was just a thing I thought like that should probably be thought about to an extent.
I mean, I'd probably keep the residuals rule, but again, I'd also just be like, don't introduce this character purely with the intention of making a profit or with killing them off. You gotta have a story, and you gotta have a story that's open-ended so we can use this character for a while going forward.
Okay. I don't think I have any more questions or anything. It's mostly just like, oh, hey, what about the Metal Men, though? Dumb shit like that.
Who cares about the Metal Men, though? Like, it's very much the same thing of like, the only people who care about the Metal Men are people who are just going to be happy that a Metal Man book is being published. They're not going to care about the quality of the stories. So why are we focusing on the Metal Men? Why do I need to come up with a pitch for the Metal Men?
Okay. You made your fucking point. Do you have anything of like what would happen after Midlife Crisis?
I mean, that would kind of be like a general reset point of like, hey, if you've stayed on the book for the whole 2 years, you want to hop off, here's a hopping off point. Let's get another pitch together. Let's find somebody else to take over for you. Like that would kind of be my idea, with like limit events to either once every 2 years, once every other year, something like that, where we have a nice bit of breathing room, and then that can be like a definitive goal for writers to strive towards, of like, this is where my story is going to wrap up, and then somebody else can take over for me, and hopefully I leave them with a status quo that's just as interesting as the one I came in on.
Alrighty. I don't think I have any more like questions.
All right. Well, it's
a good pitch. It's a good solid like foundation. It's a very DC foundation.
Yeah. It's just me taking the way my mind works and kind of applying it to the characters, and also kind of being informed by recent things and just like ideas from Marvel that I like. Like, obviously, I fucking just straight up wholesale copied Hickman X-Men. And there's a lot of writers who originate from Marvel here who have worked for DC some, that I'm going like, no, put this person who's known for Marvel on this DC character. Let's do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna do some of that with my stuff, because like I'm going into my Marvel pitch with the knowledge that Grant
Morrison on every book.
No, you know exactly what book he's gonna be put on. There's only one Marvel book that can fucking handle Grant Morrison.
Oh, okay. I was going another direction, but that's just as good. But I suppose everybody will have to tune in next week to figure out what motion you just did towards the camera.
That immediately made you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the pitch. That's about an hour's worth of podcast. I hope everybody enjoyed that, because we've now got another hour's worth of podcast to get through.
Another 2 hours, because we have an hour of toy news and an hour of comic discussion.
Yeah, because for those of you not in the know, this week is what would have been San Diego Comic-Con during a normal year. And we're not quite in normal years again yet, so they still canceled this year. But the way toy companies work, they have a sort of regular production cycle, and they're used to dropping a lot of news on us around this time of year. So they did the same thing they did last year, and they just dropped all the news anyway, even without a show to do it at. And some of the Japanese companies went to shows in Japan, or like bought out shopping malls in Japan and did like little exhibits there. But for the most part, this is online reveals. And we're going to go ahead, and I thought it'd be funny just because it's my week to talk about DC. We're going to start off with the DC news, and we'll slowly move into Marvel. And we're going to talk first about some reveals McFarlane has been doing for their DC Multiverse line. It seems like they're finally moving into more of sort of an evergreen jumping around status. They're no longer just straight focused on modern Batman stuff, which makes me very happy because that's what I was hoping the line would be from the outset. And it looked like it would be with that first wave. So we've gotten free reveals this week with fancy promotional photography, not full solicitation, so we don't know if or what accessories these things come with. But we have the DC Multiverse Reverse Flash, Superboy-Prime, and Lobo. And personally, I think all of these look fantastic. These look like really solid figures of the characters. Lobo's maybe a bit on the skinny side, but not enough to look like New 52 Lobo and irk me. And I
looks
just
more like it just more looks more like he's skinnier for the sake of articulation.
yeah. And Superboy-Prime excites me just from the sheer idea of like, oh, that's a bold kind of out there choice. That's showing that they're willing to go to weird places, and I like that. I don't necessarily want this figure, but I like what this figure represents.
Superboy-Prime looks interesting. He looks like Superboy-Prime.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. And you know, if you want to punch a hole through reality, this is definitely the action figure for you.
I like Lobo. He looks really good.
I hope we get a Crush to go with him.
Yeah. Reverse Flash looks too angry. I like the Reverse Flash just looks like, it was me, Barry. I jacked you off and made it so you came in your pants while you were kissing. I like the shitty.
You like
petty.
You like smarmy meme Reverse Flash.
Yeah. I like the super smarmy, super petty. I hate you because fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Reverse Flash.
Yeah. And that's a perfectly valid interpretation, I think. And like hopefully we do get that version at some point. But
the face is the only problem because like most of the body looks great. The face just looks too angry.
Mm-hmm. That is honestly a bit of a failure on the figure's part because the face is the one unique part here. Other than that, it's a straight repaint of one of their Flash figures.
Yeah, the face just looks a little too angry. If like he had an alternate face that was like a smirk, it's like, I outsmarted you, Barry.
That'll probably be a store exclusive.
Jeff Bezos.
That's Todd's New York Comic-Con exclusive is meme Reverse Flash. You press a little button on the box and the audio for the video starts playing.
It was me, Barry. I jacked you off at light speed, Barry. That's a good ass meme. Don't fucking.
It's a great meme, honestly. Like I genuinely love the public perception of Reverse Flash, and never has it been summed up better than how I forget what episode it was, but on an episode of Back Issues, Sal had to explain Reverse Flash, and he's like, Reverse Flash is just a guy who worked at a museum in the future, and he heard about the Flash, and he was like, fuck that guy, so he gave himself the Flash's powers and dedicated his life to fucking with him. It's fucking brilliant. But we do have also a number of reveals for Medicom's Mafex line, Miracle action figure, and they've got their hands in a number of comic book properties, and mainly I am interested in the DC stuff, but we've seen quite a few interesting Marvel things. But I'll go ahead and start off with the thing that we actually got solicitations for this week, and that is the Wonder Woman 1984 Golden Armor figure and the Death and Return of Superman, Cyborg Superman. And both these figures look really good. I don't do movie stuff, so I'm not getting the Wonder Woman no matter what. But, oh my god, Cyborg Superman looks fucking gorgeous.
I'm getting to it. I'm going through the slideshow.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the suit. It's just, why would you use that? That's from Kingdom Come. It has a very specific connotation.
That movie is nothing but weird choices from what I've heard.
Hell yeah, no, fuck yeah, Cyborg Superman looks great. What's his actual name?
I mean, it depends on the continuity because in the story this is based on, I don't remember his actual name, but this is the origin where it's a parody of the Fantastic Four.
Right.
And then in New 52 / Rebirth continuity that we're in now, Cyborg Superman is Jor-El.
Oh.
Cyborg Superman is Supergirl's dad, and he's a Supergirl villain.
Oh no.
And this isn't that version of him, but like that, just the idea of that character makes me endeared towards this figure a whole lot more, on top of just it being a fucking Superman that looks like the Terminator, dude. Of course I want it.
Yeah, no, it looks really fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Big old freaking 90s alternate hand cannon with blast effects. Man, the thing with the Mafex figures I always come back to is like they look amazing, and by all rights they pose as good as you could possibly want them to, but it's like $80 to $120.
They look like they are worth the price though.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not getting skimped. So we should go back to the one right before that link of the ones featuring Black Noir.
Yeah, because they showed a bunch of figures at a show and eventually wheeled out some more. We have 2 different articles here, and we're just gonna go through the first one here. Some of this stuff has been revealed already, some of it hasn't. Azrael has been revealed already. Animated Batman has been revealed already. Animated Joker is new. Scuba Batman is new. I don't know why they called her Batwoman in the slideshow, but Huntress is new. Black Noir is new. Classic Iron Man is new. Harley we've seen. I think we actually have a solicitation for Harley.
I think we talked about Harley too, because we were like, that's a really shiny latex. There's some fetish there.
Yeah. Black Suit Spider-Man is new, but it's on their original Spider-Man body. And Black Suit Superman is already revealed. But yeah, any particular thoughts from you on these?
That classic Iron Man is a fucking classic ass Iron Man. It looks really good.
It's beautiful, dude. Like, if I hadn't already bought the Marvel Legends, I'd be considering this.
Yeah, no. It's also just shiny in just the right way. It's fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Those fucking the arms and legs look like candy corn.
Yeah, I like the Azrael Batman just because.
Yeah, you like Azrael.
I've never read a comic featuring Azrael. I just love the fucking look of it. He's a dope look.
That's fair.
I mean, the people who bought those comics when he was new didn't fucking read him either.
Yeah. I really like Huntress, just because again it looks like a great sculpt, but also it's another case of like, oh, they're willing to go a little deeper into DC than just your Batmans and your Supermans. We're gonna get more stuff here. And it's another female character. We've gotten a lot of female characters in this line so far. So you know, I'm kind of looking at Medicom going like, so we got Harley on the way. We just got Catwoman. When are you gonna finish the Sirens? Come on, where's my Ivy?
I do like Huntress. She looks cool. I have no fondness for the boys, so
yeah,
who the fuck cares?
Scuba Batman is also just like a cool repaint.
Yeah,
not even a repaint. Like a lot of that body looks like new sculpting.
Yep, and Black Suit Spider-Man looks fucking great. It's like old school classic 80s Spider-Man, and I've grown more of an affection to that era of Spider-Man as I've watched Comic Pop.
Yeah, and it's kind of honestly, it's kind of hard to make a bad Black Suit Spider-Man figure. But moving on to the other round of show photos, we also have a gray prototype for Nightwing, who looks really good, but I hope they sink those shoulder joints in just a little more. They look a little awkward to me.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh, it's also Nightwing from Hush.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. They're trying to stick to specific books that they're making designs from, because they want to have a sort of similar design philosophy to groups of characters. So like they're doing Batman Returns, Batman Hush, and Death and Return of Superman.
Ben Reilly.
Yeah, Ben Reilly Spider-Man is coming, and I think that's a new sculpt actually, because like that spider looks like it's sculpted in, and it's a different spider than on the regular Spider-Man. So that's pretty cool.
Goddamn, our boy Cyclops, he looks sick.
Excalibur Cyclops too. That's a fucking pick, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already done Jim Lee Cyclops, but like as your first alternate Cyclops, That's a way to go. You know, that's somebody's favorite Cyclops design in that company.
So I just noticed he has the fucking hood, so there's probably an alternate head where he has the condom head.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, great reveals out of Mafex this week. A lot of really cool, really interesting stuff. You know, I just really have two things on my wants list from them right now, and they're both female characters, and I've already said one, and the other one, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Mafex, if you want me to buy a DC character from you, you have to make my wife. Please make my wife Mafex. I don't think it'll be that hard. I think people will buy it. I'll certainly buy it. I'll pre-order it. Just please announce a figure of my wife.
Of your wife?
Yes, 'cause I got one of my Marvel wives from them. I have the Mafex Gwenpool. It's in the
Okay.
review queue.
I was thinking they made a fucking toy of magic.
No, but they should. They should make a magic. That'd be dope. But all right, let's get into Hot Toys. We had some more Hot Toys reveals this week. And a lot of really interesting stuff. A lot of these are probably concepts that we may not see realized, but like just bunch of different Spider-Mans they're showing off and planning to do. We've got a WandaVision, Scarlet Witch and Vision, frickin' Falcon and Winter Soldier figures are happening. They're doing some redos of old Iron Man designs. Infinity War Viking 4 and Final Battle Captain America, and then some Zack Snyder figures are also happening.
I'm looking through some of the Spider-Man, and they're looking pretty good. I'm not sure how I feel about the 2099.
Mm-hmm. It's a take.
Yeah.
I love that they're doing Parker Industries Spider-Man. That's such like a random pick to do these days.
Oh, Zemo though. Zemo looks fucking sick.
Zemo looks so good, dude. I need fucking Zemo. That's one of those times where I'm like, if I was a Hot Toys guy, I'd jump on that in a hot second.
Oh yeah. Some Iron Man. Oh man, I'm at the Avengers stuff. Oh man. A lot of it looks sick.
Yeah, Falcon Cap in particular, I thought was a really dead-on likeness.
Oh, and then Zook Snooter.
Yeah, those definitely do exist.
But dude, that OG Clone Saga Ben Riley version hot
beautiful.
toy.
That and Spider-Punk just had me going like, yeah, get it, Hot Toys.
Daft Spider though.
Sorry?
Daft Spider.
Yeah, Daft Spider. I love that they went for that. No, Hot Toys is knocking it out of the park right now, and they're never not knocking it out of the park.
Right, but it's just like Punk Spider's cool. You know who that Spider-Man's not a Peter Parker, right?
Yeah, that's Miles, isn't it?
No, it's Hobby. It's Miles' uncle. It's the Prowler.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then we also had some news from Mondo this week, a company I don't normally keep track of because they usually make stuff that I don't care about. But they kind of came out of nowhere and revealed some cool stuff for you 1/6 scale collectors, which is the same scale as Hot Toys. It's 12 inch. It's basically doll scale. But they're doing some freaking 1/6 scale X-Men and Batman the Animated Series figures. They've revealed a Wolverine and a Comic-Con exclusive Wolverine that's already sold out, but is based off of the meme. You know which meme. It's that meme. It's the picture frame meme. And they describe it as the Pride of the X-Men version because it's very much got a lot of accessories specific to that episode, but the boxies posed like the meme. And then they've shown design art for Magneto
Man, he looks good.
Yeah. And one really cool thing, both these figures come with morph heads. I kind of hope every one of their X-Men figures just comes with a morph head.
That's just perfect.
Mm-hmm. And then they also revealed some Masters of the Universe stuff, which doesn't necessarily interest me.
That Skeletor, though.
It's a good looking Skeletor, and it's based directly off of Revelation.
Hordak looks cool.
Yeah, Hordak's always been a cool design, in my opinion.
The other Scareglow I saw recently looks more interesting to me.
The Mattel
Scareglow
one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one in the fancy box.
Yeah. I think that was actually a ComicCon exclusive. I think that went up for sale a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And then you have Joker from Batman the Animated Series, and it looks really good. It looks like what Mafex would do, but it's 1/6 scale instead of 1/12 scale.
Yeah, it looks solid. A lot of cool accessories.
The Joker bombs, the different types of bombs that he comes with Joker fish. That's cool.
All the hats. Some interesting things from the Thing.
Yeah. They're doing Man-Thing. They're doing a Man-Thing figure. I forgot about that.
I don't want that because Man-Thing looks sick.
Yeah, he does look pretty sick. And then they've got some kind of kaiju statue stuff in this article as well.
Honestly, though, those kind of making me go like, "Yo, I kind of want to start following this company. They look cool."
I just realized I should ask this. Do you ever link the articles in the description on this show?
No, but now that I actually have a full list of the articles and it's like all in one easy place, I probably should.
Yeah, because I do that with Twit. So it just popped into my head of like, yeah.
Well, maybe we should start doing it since we're probably gonna. It's easier to just have the list in front of me.
Everybody can follow along that way. But moving on from Mondo, we have the Mezco announcements from this weekend, and Mezco announced some pretty exciting stuff. They of course have some of their brand specific characters that are basically just a bunch of reuse from other figures. But as far as brands we like, brands we're concerned about on this podcast, they're doing Spider-Man 2099, and he looks pretty sick. I'm usually not a fan of the Marvel Mezco figures, but 1/12 scale Spider-Man 2099 actually seems to look pretty solid.
I think a big problem with like a lot of Marvel toys is like you look at DC hero designs and they are very segmented, so you can easily like break them up. You don't get that often in Marvel characters.
Yeah,
there's not a really good break point for a Spider-Man costume, you know.
Yeah,
you kind of get that with maybe the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, some versions of Captain America, but like, where do you put the articulation for Sleepwalker? Yeah, this is the point.
And you also got to remember, these are figures the size of Marvel Legends that have full cloth bodysuits.
Yeah.
And for a DC reveal, they're doing Gotham by Gaslight the Joker, which not a look I've ever been into. I've never read Gotham by Gaslight, but this just looks like a sick action figure. This looks like pure hand candy for action figure photography.
Here's the thing. Joker wasn't in Gotham by Gaslight.
Really?
No. He was a background Easter egg.
So this is entirely like a concept kind of thing.
No, because you want to know what the Easter egg was also of? The original inspiration for the Joker, The Man Who Laughs.
Oh.
Which is an old silent era horror movie.
Yeah, I know about The Man Who Laughs, and that makes this figure make so much sense because that second photo where he's facing the camera does look very Man Who Laughs.
Halloween 3.
Yeah. And some weird, super deformed Batman 66 figures. Not for me.
A Dick Tracy toy?
Yeah.
Some of the Dick Tracy stuff looks cool.
Yeah, they're doing 1/12 collective Dick Tracy and, I forget the name of this character. Flat Top.
Yeah.
So that's really neat. That's cool that they're expanding out into like really classic comic book stuff. And then G.I. Joe is technically comic books, and hey everybody, I saw Snake Eyes today. It was pretty good. But they revealed they're doing a 1/12 collective Firefly, which is a fucking great choice for 1/12 collective, in my opinion. He lends himself really well to it. And then
right?
He's Cobra.
Oh, he's Cobra?
He's like the Cobra bombs expert.
Okay.
He wears one of those big bulky bomb suits.
Fucking Pyramid Head looks sick.
Okay. I'm not into Silent Hill.
I'm not into either. It's just go like, damn, that's good.
But you skip past the thing that made me pop, which is it's just a tease. It's just a little image. We don't see a figure at all. But Mezco basically said, yeah, after years and years of doing tons of different Batmans and people asking for it, they're finally doing a Robin in 1/12 collective, and I cannot wait to see how it looks.
Yeah. Also, these they're 5-point. I'm not a big fan of that kind of retro, but these just look like they're more for like display. They're not meant
toys.
Yeah. I like them though. I like the Popeye, and I'm not sure if that's a Bluto.
Neither am I. I don't know a whole lot about Popeye, but I do like that everybody seems to be cashing in on Popeye these days. Boss Fight's doing a Popeye line. There were some 112 Collective Popeye figures a while back. Seems like there's a weird sort of nostalgia for Popeye right now.
There was
Though,
also a Ultra 7 toy that they showed.
yeah, that's cool. Personally,
Same toy, same line as those Popeyes, but they look nice. I think they look cool.
yeah, and I just wanted to finish the thought real quick. Personally, I'm really hoping NECA hops on the Popeye train and does Popeye Robin Williams figures because that's my
Ooh.
Popeye. I grew up on that movie.
That's a good, and people shit on that Popeye. That's a good Popeye.
That's a great fucking movie. I don't know about Popeye, but that's a great fucking movie.
That's a fucking Popeye.
Yeah. But moving on to Sentinel, we have a reveal of one of their new Iron Man fighting armor model kits. They are doing a black and gold version of Iron Man, which looks alright.
It's Iron Man.
It's not a color scheme I've ever super cared for, and I don't do model kits, and I have very little experience with Sentinels, so I can't really give like a hard take on this figure. Oh, I accidentally put the initial reveal of the Mondo SDCC Wolverine below this.
Yeah.
So there's the full photos of that. You can see it in the packaging. I'm like, that's
and then scale with a person, with a real life human person.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of those things where I gotta imagine, like, if you're roaming the show floor at SDCC, that's something you'd pick up just from seeing it.
Yeah, no, it's big. It's nice. It's chunky.
Mm-hmm. And then to tie it back into something we've been covering fairly recently, Good Smile Company, the people who do the Nendoroids and the Figmas, they've teased that they're doing a Miss Minutes of some kind. We just got one teaser photo, but yeah, we might be getting. I'm thinking this is going to be a Nendoroid Miss Minutes.
I think we're getting a Nendoroid Loki.
Ooh,
because we've had an Nendoroid Loki before.
That's true. Yeah,
because that Miss Minutes doesn't look like an Nendoroid. That Miss Minutes looks like an accessory.
That's yeah, that's pretty smart. I hadn't thought of that, but I'd be down for either or, honestly. But to wrap up with a bit of Marvel Legends news, the full solicitation and pre-orders are now up for the Marvel Legends Compound Hulk. So if you're really interested in Compound Hulk, you can go get that. Here's the thing. I talked to the biggest Hulk fan we both know the other day, and he was like, that's dumb. That's just based off of a cover. I don't want that. So
I mean, there's some panels on the inside with Impossible Man, so it might have been a real thing.
Oh man, now I just want Marvel Legends Impossible Man. Where
Impossible.
the hell is that, Hasbro? Give me my Marvel Legends Impossible Man. But speaking of things Hasbro is trying to give us, we've gotten a new tease for stretch goals for the Hasbro Marvel Legends HasLab Galactus.
Oof.
They've teased what these stretch goals are going to be. And I talked about on the last episode that they had said first stretch goal is definitively going to be a 6-inch action figure. And before we move on, let me just real quick check. Target for the Galactus is 14,000 backers. Currently, we're sitting at 8,852 with 36 days left to go as of this recording. So well on track. We're a little over halfway there. But they've now posted a teaser image, which is an image of Galactus we've already seen, but there's 2 silhouettes photoshopped in. 2 very distinctive silhouettes of some characters who may have once been known as Norn Rad and Frankie Ray.
Yep.
So a lot of people were actually a little annoyed by this because they're like, we already have 2 Silver Surfers in the line. Do we really need a Silver Surfer to come with this?
Yes.
But yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I watched Floosh Weekly today, and he made a very good point of like, having Galactus without Silver Surfer is like having peanut butter without jelly. You just don't do it. So yeah, they should pack him in. Makes good sense to have him be a stretch goal, but like Also, let's make this kind of a unique version. Maybe do like a slightly different paint scheme. Make him very clearly based off of first appearance Silver Surfer, maybe.
Yeah. My first thought was like, what if you make it Silver Surfer black?
But Silver Surfer Black is at Walgreens right now, though.
Okay.
And we have a shiny silver. It's a repaint of a shiny silver paint Silver Surfer that came out at Walgreens a couple years ago. So I'm thinking, do this kind of like a white pearlescent sheen, or full vac metal chrome.
Yeah. Make it depreciate value the second you touch it, mate.
Yeah, just do one or the other kind of crazy concept. And then Frankie Ray Nova being in here, it's a great fucking choice because we haven't had her in Legends yet at all, and it makes perfect sense to pair her up with a figure of Galactus. Now we need Firewalker and Arrowhead, I think his name is. We need those two as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're stretch goals.
Yep. But it's dope to see.
Yeah. And that is all the toy news that's fit to print. And that only took us like a half hour. So not bad.
But you've kind of been leading us through toy news, so why don't I kind of bring us back into some comics?
Certainly, sir.
So why don't I first talk about the DC books I read this week? Because, oh my god, I read some DC books. So I read Blue and Gold.
I almost read that, but then it was like the last thing on my metaphorical stack, and I was kind of getting tired. So how was that?
Booster Gold's a live streamer.
That's perfect. Yes.
And the caption boxes are the comments.
Oh my god.
So you got people going like, what? Who's this loser? My
And
second favorite.
This book is written by Dan Jurgens, right?
Yep.
Remember, Dan Jurgens created Booster Gold in the 80s.
Holy shit. Because this feels like a very contemporary modern take on Booster Gold.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like, I love this little running gag. There's a commenter who just goes by GG, and he just rags on him the whole time. I know him, couldn't beat Kite Man.
Fucking Guy Gardner up in this bitch. Hell yeah.
End of humanity, he's all we got. If he's all we got, zero chances he survives the hour, you know?
Uh-huh.
And then someone says, I heard the JL pays members $10 million a year, and GG just goes like, who says? And it's just like that. And he goes like,
that would be another thing, real quick, just to jump way fucking back.
Yeah.
With my idea for the Justice League. Because now it's funded by $2 billion organizations. Everybody has a salary. It's a modest salary, but it's a salary.
Right. GG goes like, reminds me when Doomsday crushed him. There was one that I found like really fucking funny. Blue Beetle shows up, saves the day because of course he does. It's Blue Beetle. And someone goes like, who's that? The Blue Bug. Blue Beetle, idiot. They were in the JL together with Fire, Ice, Maxima, and Superman. GG. And Guy Gardner, the boss. So yeah, it's Guy Gardner.
Jesus Christ, Guy, get a job.
And basically they go like, all right, cool, let's work together and try and impress the Justice League, see if we can get back on the team. Because the Justice League are kidnapped and in the ship, so they're trying to save them. Booster and Beetle. And they do, they're superheroes, they get the job done. By Beetle sneaking in and doing some stuff. And the whole team is there, and they basically go like, oh, hey, we want to talk to, we're gonna get do some cleanup. So, hey, Black Adam, go with Booster, go start over there and figure out what we need to do. And Booster goes like, yeah, sure, whatever, cool, sweet, we may join the Justice League. All right, buddy, let's do this. And basically, Lee goes like, hey, do you wanna join the Justice League? And Blue Beetle's just like, fuck yeah, Booster was right. Yeah, of course, we're definitely in. And then Green Arrow and the rest of the team goes like, that's awkward. The invitation's for you, not for Booster. And Blue Beetle just goes like, yeah, no, I'm sticking with my friend.
We're a package deal.
Yeah, that's what we are a team, and that means no Booster Gold, no Blue Beetle.
Hell yeah.
And then he just goes like, he tells Booster, yeah, no, they didn't want either of us. And they go like, yo, let's start our own super thingamajig, heroes for hire.
Sick.
And
that
then
sounds,
we see
that sounds like that would have been pretty good. I'm a little upset I skipped that now.
then some aliens go like, oh, fucking, we're gonna invade Earth. Who's Booster Gold? And then I read Superman, if he was Batman, aka Superman and the Authority.
I read that as well. And like, there's parts of it I really like, and then there's parts of it that I was just like, okay, Morrison is really trying to get some shit off their chest, and I don't know if I'm interested in continuing with it.
Liked it enough.
I love the opening with Superman talking to JFK just before Dallas. It definitely feels super fanficky, but like in a good way. And I like the idea of an old remorseful Superman trying to make good before his time is up. Like that stuff that Morrison's done before, and it works. Of course, it's gonna work here. But good God, every fucking word out of Manchester Black's mouth is the most annoying shit.
I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Because that's always been the point of Manchester Black and the one other story he's been in.
And I would like try to read I would try to read his dialogue, and by like halfway through the page, I'd just be like, I'm just going to the next page, buddy. I'll see you there.
I mean, kind of, you can kind of just do that. Because that's kind of the point of this, is Manchester Black is being the edgy superhero, edgy, like, what he originally was meant to parody. He's still that kind of character, because that's still a mindset people have of like, oh man, just fucking kill the villains, just do all that shit. And Superman's going like, no, you fucking idiot. I'm losing power. I need people to replace me when I'm gone, and you're powerful enough to do it, and you have a sense of justice enough to do it. You're just an asshole. I need to fix that out of you.
He's come to spank the asshole away.
Yeah, which is ultimately Grant Morrison going like, y'all motherfuckers need to understand what fucking superheroes are, you dipshits.
I've been trying to tell you this for 30 fucking years.
Because like Superman's fighting things from the Phantom Zone, going like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then Manchester Black just shows up and goes like, all right, guess I'm fucking saving Superman. Let's fucking do this.
I don't know. I feel like this book is really just Morrison doing their own version of the bit where the guy quits the burger place and goes, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out.
It's kind of that, because like the end thing is like Black just puking on a globe, drunk, just like it is very much Morrison putting his own moral beliefs of superheroes onto Superman and just pointing a major finger at just DC editorial, going like, this is what you fucking want, I'm gonna fix it.
And the thing is, like, I'm not saying that's invalid. I'm not against. Morrison has certainly earned the ability to do that with everything else they have done in their career so far.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't vibe with it.
I think I'm vibing with it more because I'm not a diehard DC reader. So I only hear the dumb shit that DC's been doing. So I just see this and go like, fuck yeah, Superman. Tell the assholes what's what. Tell them what a superhero is, man. You know?
That's fair.
You're in the weeds more, so like I'm like Superman. I can see it from the farness.
I've had 10 years down in the grit and the grime and the shit. And what does it get you? Well, I'll tell you what it gets you. Apparently, final Morrison book that's not that satisfying.
Yeah, just wait till Morrison comes over to Marvel.
Hopefully.
Oh, dude.
Could you imagine if Morrison teamed up with Hickman?
Morrison gets a 6-issue limited Legion book.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Morrison writing Spider-Man.
Oh, shit. How have I never thought of that? Morrison goes back to the totemic shit and actually makes it cool.
Do you want me to continue talking about some books? Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more books on my list.
I've got 4 more, so why don't you do 2 more and then we'll start going back and forth.
Okay. Well, I read the first issue of Moon Knight.
How was it?
Good. Solid little status quo. Where basically Moon Knight's taking control of part of New York, where he's kind of like he's kind of daredeviling it, this is my part of town. I fight for this part of town, blah blah blah. And it's also a little bit of Heroes for Hire because he has like an office and and people can come to him and go like, all right, cool. What do you need? What do you need help with? And he'll help out. And it starts off with a person going and saying like, hey, vampires have been doing some shady shit in town. And it's a couple vampires who are basically running a pyramid scheme of vampirism.
Oh my god.
It's time you remember we brought you suborbs into the structure. Now it's your turn. It's a big moment for you guys. I'm really excited for you. Once you pull in a new recruit and turn them, they'll be your suborbs. And then you'll reach Omnicron level. We just want to go home. We believe in you guys. Legitimately, it's hilarious.
Amazing.
And Moon Knight just like head first into their van and crashes it. And he starts killing the yuppie vampires. And he just goes like, I warned you. I warned all of you. I paint my symbol on the walls for two reasons. The first is the people know they're safe. My people are people traveling at night. The second, a warning. This is my territory. This is my congregation. This is my mission. I am Moon Knight. And he stakes the vampire. And then he sees the other vampires, the forcibly turned vampires walking out of the van. And they go like, yo, we didn't want to fucking be vampires. We're from this place. And he drops the stakes and lets them go. Like, he helps them. And then Moon Knight's talking to a therapist. Because Moon Knight, of any Marvel character, needs fucking therapy. And then we see what it's like for Moon Knight in his office. People come in, ask for help. He fights vermin and vermin clones.
Whoa. What's Moon Knight's real name again?
Mark Spector.
Marky the Vampire Hunter. Marky the Vampire Slayer. Just full take off of Buffy. Oh my god.
But you see him in his office. He's doing his thing. He's fighting bad guys. And then he runs into, one night he runs into this dude, this doctor, kind of like immediately knowing all the Moon Knight lore is like, oh, you're the Fist of Khonshu, Mr. Spectre. You have a sacred duty. Consider me recently arrived from home office. I'm disappointed with what I see. Our god languishes in the custody of foreign deities. And what is his fist doing? Allowing vampires to exist in territory consecrated to the duty of Khonshu. He's a Khonshu fundamentalist.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And Moon Knight just looks at him and goes like, what are you? Moon Wizard? Werewolf? Don't look like a mummy. Whichever of Khonshu's cronies you are, don't forget who you're talking to. I'm fucking Moon Knight. I outrank you. Basically, this is a preacher going up to the Pope going like, I don't like what you're doing, man. And he goes like, I'm the fucking Pope!
The fucking Baptist preacher going up to the Pope and being like, how dare you say gay people are all right?
He's talking to the therapist and does all that. And we just see more of like him working around in the community. Like he's fighting vampires, he's fighting zombies, he's spray painting his tag everywhere so people know it. Like it's very supernatural, like epicenter of New York kind of thing. He's in a bar, arm wrestling a biker gang of Frankensteins.
All right.
He's fighting bad guys, vermin, other people, all that kind of stuff. And then we see that he hired one of the vampires that got forcibly turned as his secretary. And he goes like, you know why I like you, Reese? Because I'm the only person who's biologically compelled to keep the same schedule as you. And he just goes, it's because you don't try to fix me.
Oh.
It's not easy when everyone thinks you're crazy. It's even harder when they're right.
Oh. Oh no. Moon Knight is every YouTuber ever.
And he's basically just talking about what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. And then we see a guy in the shadows, the doctor, walking into his apartment, and you see him going to a statue of Khonshu and praying as he puts on a black mask and goes, Moon Knight needs correction, but I keep the faith. I enact your will. I carry out your duty. Your right hand has failed you, but your left has not. Your other fist remains faithful. Your hunter's moon. We got Nega Moon Knight.
Oh shit. It's the dark side of the moon. Night.
Yeah, boy. Hold on. I'm sending you what he looks like because he looks kind of sick.
Oh dang.
Yeah,
Look
boy.
at that man.
Moon Knight was sick. It's good. I like Moon
That,
Knight.
that is a large man.
Yeah.
I would I would not mind an action figure of said large man. How have we not gotten a Marvel Legends Mr. Knight yet? We've got that suit mold. It can be made. That just hit me.
Yeah.
Because we have two Moon Knights. We have two kind of classic style Moon Knights, but we've not got a Mr. Knight yet. What the hell's up with that, Hasbro?
We also haven't had Magic Shaman Moon Knight, which is the look of Moon Knight I want to have.
Mm.
You know which one I'm talking about? With the one with all the fucking bones and the giant bird skull.
Yeah.
Tell me about some comics you read.
Well, we might as well just go ahead and lead off with the big one. We got the second issue of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow this week. And I feel like this is going to be a big make or break issue for a lot of people. Not just because it's the second issue, but because there's a hard pill to swallow at the end of this. And I'll get into that in due time. But the bulk of this issue is spent with Kara and Rufy on a freaking like Space 747 flying coach to wherever the bad guy from the first issue went. Like this is the kind of shit they're in. I'm sending you the first page where it's overcrowded, it's nasty. There's a bunch of different alien races on there, and
A couple aliens are making out.
yeah, and Kara and Rufy don't have seats right next to each other. There's someone in between them on each leg of the flight. And the issue opens with Rufy going like, "So, I grew up on a farm with 7 brothers, and we didn't have like fancy plumbing or anything. So each morning as the youngest, I was always the last one to bathe in dirty, grimy, smelly water. And yeah, even that wasn't as disgusting as being next to this guy." And the guy's like leaning up against her, like falling asleep. And she's just going, "Sir, could you please not lean? Sir, sir." And finally, you get to this page. I think this is like actually the second or third page. But it's this big dialogue where she explains everything she's been through in the first issue. And she's like, "So not only have I been through all that, but you see that girl sleeping next to you? That's Supergirl, the Maiden of Might, Superman's cousin. And if you keep being rude to me, I'm going to wake her up and she's going to kick your ass." And he's just like, "Who, her? That doesn't make any sense." Whatever. And Rufy goes on to narrate that, like, this is actually a really long trip for them. Like, it's weeks long, but this is just an excerpt she's giving us because a lot of similar stuff kind of played out, but there's some very specific things that Rufy wants us, the audience, to pick up on here. And when they get to this sort of rest stop, her and Kara decide to get off to get something to eat, and they go up to this bar and they're just kind of discussing how things are going. And a random alien comes up and is just like, "Hey, are you Supergirl?" And she's like, "Yeah." "Well, Superman killed 2 of my brothers, so I reckon that means I have to kill you." And Rufy just goes into narration and she's like, "So this happens a lot when I'm with Carol." And it's basically because people look at Supergirl and they see this very beautiful young woman, and they compare her to Superman's might and his notoriety, and they think, "Oh, she's his soft underbelly. She's an easy mark. If you want to get to Superman, she's the way you go." And Rufy makes the point of like, that is the stupidest fucking thing you can do because Kara just one-shots this guy. And she's just like, "So how much time do we have until the flight leaves?" "I don't know. I've never heard of the measurement of time they're using." "All right, well, let's just go now anyway, because that makes sense." So they get back on the flight, and a few hours later, they encounter a big old space dragon in a sector of space where there's not supposed to be dragons right now. And they were taking this route because there's not supposed to be a dragon here, and the dragon's going to annihilate the ship. And the pilot of the ship is telling all this to Kara, and she's just looking at the space dragon with her arm crossed, and she just goes, "Ah, bummer. Can't you, could you maybe, I don't know, save the day?" And she's like, "Well, you see, the reason I'm on this flight is because I don't have my powers right now. We're way far away from the right kind of sun." And he's like, "Oh, bummer. Is there nothing you can do?" And she's like, "Well, maybe. And so she runs to where the rest of the passengers are, and she just starts yelling, all right, who's got reds? Don't be fucking shy. I know you're fucking here. We all know you're fucking here. It's a wet-bound, whole fairy, cheapest, slowest way around the cosmos. Everyone gets bored. Everyone's got time to pass. Come on, be brave, stand up. There's a fucking space dragon outside, and this is our only chance of survival. And it's not all that great, to be honest. And what this is a just King going out of his way again to illustrate Kara's not the sweet little flower that most people think she is. She swears like a sailor. That's always kind of been a thing in modern Supergirl, but he's making it more overt here because in that earlier scene where the guy asked if she was Supergirl, she also had a more lengthy explanation and ended it by saying, "So if I'm not Supergirl, then who the fuck else would I be?" Which just made me go, "Oh, Tom King is writing this comic just for me." But what this scene with her asking for reds is the reveal that in the rest of the galaxy, red kryptonite is sold as drugs. Red kryptonite is basically the intergalactic equivalent of cannabis.
Huh.
And the thing is, most races in the galaxy just mellows them out, just makes them see some weird shit. But when Kara takes it, she gets different superpowers. Maybe changes her mood a little bit, makes her a little more cranky. And Rufy's just like, "Are you sure this is gonna work?" And she's like, "Well, either it'll work or we'll be dead in a few minutes and it won't matter." She takes it, and Supergirl gets fucking Phoenix powers.
Hey, Tom King, I have a feeling you want to write some X-Men. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. But no, she
Because I
goes.
don't see Kara. I see some Jean.
Yeah, that's big Gene energy right there. But she goes and fights the space dragon, and then we get a little scene where her and Rufy are in the bathroom, and she's kind of washing up after having just defeated a big galactic beast. And Rufy's again kind of talking about farm hygiene in the narration and how like she was taught well, she kept herself clean at regular intervals, but not necessarily hygiene wasn't necessarily her top priority. And her and Kara are having this conversation where Rupee says, "May I inquire as to the nature of what you are doing? Are those not more holes?" As she's scrubbing her hands in the sink. And Kara turns to her and she goes, "We've been traveling for almost a month, Rupee. You don't wash your hands?" And Rufy goes, "Is that a necessity?" And Kara just looks at her with this really gentle, motherly look and says, "Come here." And we get a full page of Supergirl teaching this little girl how to wash her hands properly, which is just fucking adorable. And it's very wholesome Tom King energy with then Tom King ass pull energy where immediately afterwards Kara goes, "So how do you feel?" And Rufy just goes, "After the tragedy of your planet's destruction, did you seek to avenge the death of your family?" And Kara just looks at her and goes, "No, I didn't," and walks away. And in the narration, Rufy is like, "It's kind of hard to convey because none of you were there, but in that, no, I didn't, I heard a lifetime's worth of remorse."
Oof.
Yeah, which is both like a big character beat, but it's also kind of like a little yay for people like me because it means Killers of Krypton is no longer canon.
Is that the Rokal Zar thing?
That was the Supergirl tie-in book to Bendis Superman, where she's just going around the galaxy trying to track down Rogol Zar and a bunch of other people who were involved with destroying Krypton, and it's complete dog shit. It fucking sucks. I hate that book so much. If you want to hear me talking about that book week to week, go dig up episodes of the monthly comic book roundup with me on Sid Part 2's channel. But then we get a sort of repeat of the opening scene with Rufy and Supergirl being separated on a flight, but it's a different passenger this time. And she's like, hey, can you not lean on me? And this guy just goes off on Rufy. He's just like, you puny, impotent child. How dare you make a request of me? Do you not know who I am? I will eat you alive. I will feast on your organs. I will. And Supergirl just one-shots him and he slumps over in his seat.
Yeah.
And so that's really cute. That's the bulk of this issue. But then we get 3 pages of flashback to explain kind of how we got here after the cliffhanger of the last issue. Kara woke up after the ship left, and she put Crypto on one shoulder and she put Rufy on the other, and she walked their 3 beaten and bruised asses back to the nearest town to get help. And she passed out for a full week. And when she came to, Rufy and the doctor told her that she would be fine, but the arrow Crypto was shot with had a poison that they could only cure if they had the original poison. And so Kara stayed on the planet for another couple weeks at Crypto's bedside, and Crypto died. And now Kara's got personal stakes in tracking down this guy too. So, yeah, Tom King killed off Crypto the Superdog. And
if she could just contact Clark and just go like, yo, this motherfucker killed Crypto, he'd be out there in a minute.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, very hard pill to swallow. I was able to swallow it, but if this turns people off of the book, I would not mark them for it, I think is the term. I wouldn't, if you don't want to read the book or you stop reading the book because of this creative choice, that's fine. Me personally, I'm like, Crypto's had a good long run since the New 52 began. As long as we're not bringing him back after this book wraps up immediately, I'm okay with it. Because it makes sense. This helps get Kara more involved with the story. But that was Woman of Tomorrow number 2. Do you have anything else?
No, not about that book. I got more books to talk about.
Okay, why don't you bop over to a book for a minute, and then I'll bop back.
Well, I read Gamma Flight number 2.
What?
Gamma Flight.
The fuck is Gamma Flight? I know what Alpha Flight is. I've never heard of Gamma Flight.
It's the Immortal Hulk spinoff.
Oh.
Starring Puck, Titania, the Absorbing Man, a weird Sasquatch and Doc Samson switched bodies.
You've already lost me. I don't know who Sasquatch and Doc Samson are outside of I've seen their action figures.
Sasquatch is a gamma-radiated dude who can turn into Sasquatch.
Okay.
He is Canadian. He is on Alpha Flight. Doc Samson is an irradiated dude. He does not transform. He's just usually strong, has green hair, and is the Hulk's therapist. They switched bodies. So currently, the therapist is in the Sasquatch body. He is currently going by Doc Sasquatch.
Okay. So this is just all the lame Hulk characters nobody else cares about thrown together in a book.
No, this is all the core supporting cast of Immortal Hulk getting their own solo adventure.
Okay.
These have been major supporting characters in Immortal Hulk.
All right.
Dr. Charlene McGowan, who's basically been like the tech specialist scientist for Hulk for Immortal Hulk.
Okay.
And God, I've told you about this, but you've forgotten. Rick Jones and Delphi Combo Gamba Monster.
Oh, I kind of know about that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they're in New York, and Scar just dropped in, and they're trying to deal with one Gamma Monster, and Scar's trying to bring them there, and they're fighting. All the while, they're trying to fix the teleporting thing so they can teleport out eventually. All that kind of jazz. Oh no, tension. That kind of thing. Absorbing Man comes up with the idea of absorbing the teleporting technology so he can become a human-sized teleporter. So he can teleport there and then teleport them out easier. They fight, Scar does all that kind of stuff. Hulkbusters from the armory come in and try to stop and fight. Scar fights them. Gamma Team does get away through Absorbing Man's teleporter, but the teleporter he got hit by a thing, so we're not sure where the teleporter is or where they went. And then we're in a lab of some scientists going the technical armor didn't quite help it didn't do enough. They're talking to this big green dude off the side, and he basically looks at the dude and goes like, "All right, Commander, you're the boss of nothing. Without your help, Aluna, we're in this together, and we know each other well enough to what is the phrase? Stand on center mode. Call me email. I can't. It's Abomination. Abomination is taking parts of his Abomination flesh so they can make Gamma super soldiers to fight Hulks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's a little bit more hint at Leonard Sampson and Charlene possibly having a romance, which is nice because it's also Charlene's a trans woman.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of like a. And in the previous issue, Doc Sasquatch really stuck his foot in his mouth and go like, "Yeah, no, I want to fix my body. You know what that's like." And she just looks at him and goes like, "My body did need to be fixed. Fuck you." Kind of like, "Yeah, no, this and the trans experience are not the same thing, you asshole." And he was like, "Oh no, I really fucked up there." So yeah, it's a side book to Immortal Hulk. If you're not invested in Immortal Hulk, there's very little reason for you to read this book.
Yeah, I almost zoned out.
I mean, the next cover looks dope. It looks neat.
Okay.
Just because it's kind of cute. Because remember, Titania and Absorbing Man are married. They're husband and wife, or at least they're dating.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think they're married.
I forget about that all the time because I don't think about Titania and Absorbing Man that much.
Dope Marvel villains. Well, now
Yeah.
they're heroes. Look at them. Look at Absorbing Man being confident in his tall significant other.
Yeah.
And there's adorable moments in this throughout where she's talking to Eugene, and he goes like, "Hey Red, you okay? Sorry, but fine. A little sore, but fine. All that kind of stuff." And like he can't. The phone cuts off, and he starts freaking out. I was like, "I need to get to her now."
Oh my god, I was looking at something else, and I just clicked over to look at that cover. Absorbing Man looks like Dean Norris.
Ooh.
Hank from Breaking Bad.
Oh.
Let me get you a photo of the man.
So you're gonna talk about Nightbutt?
I will. Hang on. I want to show you. I want to show you Dean Norris. Look at Dean Norris. Look at this casting waiting to happen. You see it, don't you?
I can kind of see it.
He's also in case you weren't aware, that's I want that paste. I don't want to do that. You silly thing. Give me this. Thank you. He's this meme.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But
tell me about the butt. Tell me
yes,
about the butt.
I'll tell you about the butt. So, if you remember when we last left off with Nightbutt, he was captured by Melinda Zuko, and we found out that she's actually Melinda Grayson. Oh my god, it's his half sister. We're Teresa Parkering it. And this issue opens with Oracle.
Nightwing's the Avatar.
God damn.
Zuko.
Are you done yet?
Zuko.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
Okay. So this issue opens on literally right where the last issue left off, and Dick is just like, my sis, you're my sis. Oh shit, give me my mask. And she's like, I think your identity's blown at this point, buddy. And he's like, that's not why. Oracle, call off whatever rescue mission you're planning. And we just get this page of her going, are you sure they captured you? They attacked you. They beat you up with a bat. And he goes, they defended themselves from a masked man breaking and entering into their home. Call off the rescue mission. And she goes, all right, Oracle to all points. False alarm. And we see the whole ass Teen Titans and Batman and the Batwing just turn around.
I love Bruce dropping my boy's in trouble? Fuck.
But Dig is basically just like, all right, so I gotta go dark for a minute. Trust me, everything's fine. I need to investigate something a little more. And so then Melinda has him change into some pajamas, and he takes her up to meet her mother, the woman who had a child with Dick's father. And she basically spends most of the rest of the issue telling her backstory. She was a mail-ordered bride for Tony Zuko, and she escaped him at the circus one day and was rescued by the Graysons, because the Flying Graysons were a thing, but it was an act at that point. John and Mary hadn't gotten together yet. And they fought off Zuko's goons. They hid her for a little bit until Zuko left. And for a while, she ran with the circus, and she's like, it was the happiest time of my life. Literally, nothing was ever better. And your dad and I weren't together for long, but we were together for just long enough. But before I realized what had happened between us, Tony Zuko found me again, and he took me, and I had Melinda, and Tony's ego wouldn't allow him to admit that Melinda wasn't his daughter, but he always knew. And he just grew angrier and more bitter as he got older, until eventually at one point he just let Melinda and her mom leave. And ever since then, they've kind of been on the run. But at one point, she did get up the guts to try and introduce Melinda to John, but Dick had already been born at that point. And she was just like, this is no longer my life to ruin. And she walked away. And so until then, her and Melinda have just kind of been living their life on their own, staying away from things until now. She's met Dick, and she's like, wow, you look just like your dad. You're a spitting image of John. It's like stepping into a time machine. I hope you and Melinda can have a relationship. And he's like, yeah, I'd like that too. It was really nice meeting you. And they walk out of Melinda's mom's apartment, and he just turns to Melinda and goes, so does she know? Know what? That you're working for Blockbuster, that you're a criminal. No, of course she doesn't. So how are we going to play this? Well, I don't. And then all of a sudden alarms start going off, and we find out that Blockbuster is coming up her elevator. And that's the cliffhanger for this issue. And they're setting next issue up as Nightwing versus Blockbuster.
How do you feel about how they retconned her in?
I think it's about as good as you could have possibly done it. I think it's a little cheap to have Mary Grayson be there before she's Mary Grayson. But other than that, I think it's fine.
Okay.
The thing is, you're either open to it or you're not going to be open to it. And I was open to it. And the only way I could have been turned off to it is if Taylor had done a really shitty job here. And I don't think he did. But no, that was fairly solid. I've got 2 more books. Do you want to do another one?
Well, I got 3, so.
Okay, go ahead.
I read the latest issue of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, what are they guarding in the galaxy this week?
Well, this is the beginning of Last Annihilation.
Oh boy.
Where it's a cosmic event. We see Hulkling and Wiccan on a Krull colony world, I think. Or is it Hela? No, it is Throne World. Built from the sacred ruins of Hala. And Hulkling's just going like, yo, no, I'm a king, but I'm gonna help you out and rebuild stuff because that's just what I'm about. And basically he's going like, yeah, no, I need to think about Krakoa and the whole Mars thing. I need to work out our political position. And Wiccan goes like, yeah, I've been getting some weird vibes about the Hellfire Gala. Like something bad happened to someone close to me.
Oh shit.
Or something's about to, and then all these portals start popping up, and then mindless ones start swarming them and attacking. All this kind of stuff, and they just start firing back, and then we cut to Rocket, flicking Gamora, Quasar? Yeah, that's not Starbrand, it's Quasar.
Quasar.
As they're in front of the living planet, formerly known as Ego, currently Dormammu, as giant hordes of mindless ones and ships pour out of his mouth to destroy the galaxy. As we see a caption, he's all mouth. as we cut to a ship with Hercules going, "What? Drax, was that a joke?" And Drax going, "I'm a superhero now. Superheroes tell jokes. Was it a good joke?" I just thought that was cute. As they're also dealing with Mindless One. And then we cut to a Rocco! Mars!
Sick.
As Nova and Peter basically have a conversation going, "So yeah, what's up with the X-Men status quo?" Like literally, Nova goes, "You think this can last? Like, is this tenable?" And Peter's very optimistic, basically going like, we would have colonized Mars eventually. Why not the X-Men? I mean, hell, they're helping the galactic economy really well now. Things seem to be on the up. And if you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Come on, would you rather this be some billionaire's ego game? Would you rather billionaires be going up into space, folks? Is that what you want with the world? I am making a political statement.
Friendly reminder, according to NASA, Jeff Bezos didn't actually go to space.
And basically they're just going like, "Hey, yo, maybe be optimistic about stuff." And then they fucking break the crack open the thing of like, "Hey, by the way, did you meet up with Kitty Pryde?" It's Kate these days. We were gonna get some coffee on her boat. She has a boat now. She had to cancel though. Some post-gala drama. I didn't think to pry. They're just dropping all the Scarlet Witch hints. And then they get notified that all the Dormammu stuff is happening. So Noah goes like, "All right, Peter, you need to take a step back. I gotta go alone because I can be there in 3 minutes because I'm Nova and have the entirety of the Nova Force." And he just rockets off and opens a goddamn portal and is heading over to help.
All right.
So they're fighting all the stuff. They're doing all that kind of thing, all that kind of jazz. And Gamora and Rocket get busted out of the ship. They're in space. They don't have a helmet. Oh, here's Nova. He can save them. Also remember that for the longest time, Gamora dated Nova, not Peter. So there's that thing in the comics, even though they're trying to make Gamora Peter thing in the comics right now. As more and more attacks are happening everywhere. And then they realize that Clerk realizes that they're also starting to attack Skrullos, and he basically goes like, "Yo, King, you need to kind of help Skrullos." And Billy basically was like, "Whoa, we got our own problems here. We need to fight here. We can send like enforcements." And Hulkling goes like, "No, I need to be there. We're the royal family. 2 super powerful monarchs to 2 allied empires. Everything we built here, the peaceful reforms, the progress, depends on us not playing favorites. So if both of us stay here on the Kree planet and leave the Skrull planet with 0 hero monitors to protect it, that sends a message, basically saying, we got to split up in order to make sure both planets feel like they're being taken care of. Because if we don't, it'll create political unrest." As we get this very sweet, like, wholesome image of them just, like, embracing each other, going like, "All right, be safe," as Billy Wiccan starts teleporting to the other planet to help them out.
All right.
And Clerk then goes like, "Yo, we need extra firepower. We need Captain Glory."
Oh boy.
And this is a crossover event with Sword.
Hey.
But yeah, it's a really sweet, wholesome moment between the two of them. It's nice.
Yeah, it does look sweet.
Tell me about the Power Rangers.
Okay, so this is basically the exact opposite of my thoughts on Mighty Morphin. There's a lot of shit going on here, and I'm not up to speed on any of it, so I'm just kind of going for a ride this issue. Because, for those of you who aren't aware, in the current Power Rangers book, not Mighty Morphin, but Power Rangers, it's 2 different books right now. In Power Rangers, we are following the Omega Rangers, which is Zach, Jason, and Trini. They have been peace conferenced out of the Mighty Morphin team, and they are now sort of a Guardians of the Galaxy type team. They are off doing space stuff, cosmic missions, and things like that. And the in-universe explanation for that is the actual peace conference. The peace conference is a cover story in current continuity.
I wonder how the actors who are still with us today feel about this comic thing of like, oh man, they're doing dope shit with the characters we played.
I don't know how oh god, I forgot Zach's actor's name, but I don't know how him and Austin St. John feel about it. But I know at that one Power Morphicon I went to the Mighty Morphin panel and I just asked the question to everyone on the panel, like, hey, have any of you read the new comics? What do you think of them? And Jason Narvi, who played Skull, just immediately was like, oh, I love them. They're like real fucking comic books about the characters. They're so good. And this was back like just before Shattered Grid had been announced.
Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, they're doing intergalactic stuff, and they're apparently fighting a force called the Imperials. Imperials with a Y. And their sort of cosmic guide is a pseudo-repentive Lord Draken. And I say pseudo-repentive because he's helping them, but only in so much as like, hey, so I helped you with this one little thing. You gonna let me go now? You gonna let me go do some evil shit now? And they're like, of course we're not, you fucking asshole. Oh, come on, Jason. Just punch me. Just punch me. Let me beat you up a little bit. First one's free. Don't worry about it. You can tell everybody I escaped. It'll be great. I'm not doing that. All right, your loss. And this issue is primarily.
Why am I getting like Doctor Doom vibes of that? You know?
Oh, it's very much like that. Like here's that exact situation I just described with Jason. That's what this page is. But while that's happening, and also the issue opens up with him teaching Trini a technique to contact the emissaries. And for those of you who aren't aware, the emissaries are to go between from our realm and the realm that the Morphin Masters inhabit. They're sort of these cosmic beings that are connected to the morphing grid and have like all powers. They're constantly fluctuating between different Ranger suits. And I believe there's one for each color that exists on most teams. There's a red sentry, there's a blue sentry, a black sentry, a yellow sentry, et cetera, et cetera. Or emissary. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said sentry there. But this whole issue, there's a subplot of Trini is trying to contact the yellow emissary because they need help. They are not winning against the Imperials, and they just lost another planet to the Imperials. And the planet they're on right now is sort of a refuge they've set up for survivors of attacks by the Imperials. And it's like this mishmash kind of melting pot of intergalactic races. And it actually leads to some trouble in this issue where a warrior who had befriended the Power Rangers in an earlier issue, apparently, I haven't actually read any of that,
Apparently.
basically goes like, oh, those people you just saved and you're now letting move in to that other part of town, those guys are fucking assholes. They enslaved my people and tried to kill my kids. Fuck them. Did these people, and Zach's like, did these people specifically do that? No, but they're part of that race, so fuck them, I'm gonna kill them. No, you're not. What? I want to fight you. You're a Power Ranger. You're my friend. Well, you're gonna have to fight me to get to them. Shit. And it's that kind of a story of like, I don't want to fight.
Racism bad.
Yeah, I don't want it's fucking the black guy Black Ranger going, don't do this. Don't do this, dude. This is fucked up. Here, if it'll make you stop, you can kill me, but you're not killing them. And Zach like lies down, and he's like, you either kill me or you don't kill anyone today. And he's like, there's a blood oath on my sword to hurt these people. So and he just slices Zach's cheek. He's like, the blood oath is fulfilled. We're done here. I still don't like you people, but I guess I'm gonna have to learn to get along with you. And he walks away.
The power of Power Ranger optimism.
Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the issue, Trini does actually break through and talk to the yellow emissary, and she basically goes, I found the yellow emissary. I know where they are, but they said something. They told me, do not seek me out. for you bring with you nothing but death. And Zach is just like, oh, that's ominous. And that's where we're left off this issue.
Nice. So, you ready for some X-Men?
Always.
Marauders.
What's
Jerry
going on?
Duggan. It's very much post Hellfire Gala. They're still kind of wrapping things up. They're doing all that kind of stuff. They're about to have a meeting about what to do about Wanda. And the first ones there are Sebastian and Emma, and Sebastian's all fixed up. He's all good and perfect. He's good. He's the Sebastian we all know. And he's like, all right, cool.
For him?
Oh, buddy boy. Sebastian going through the shit again. This time it's of the heart. So, basically, they're about to start the meeting. They're getting ready for everybody to come in. And Xavier goes like, hey, yo, Sebastian that was asking me about a resurrection for a certain person. Lourdes chart now. An old Hellfire Gala, old Hellfire character from back in the fucking 80s. I was not familiar with her, but I was surprised when I looked into the matter. The only question I have is, are you going to tell Sebastian or am I? Because Sebastian wants this person resurrected.
He's not a mutant?
No. We'll get to it. We will get to it. We then see the Step for Cuckoos trying to help a girl out that they had essentially fucked over before. They were trying to help her, but it work quite out perfectly. So they're trying to help her out some more. They're at the meeting, and basically Emma goes like, hey, we need to talk, Sebastian. We can't resurrect the woman you want, the woman you love. We can't resurrect her. And he just looks at her and goes like, we turned a barren planet into a fertile mutant world. How can you possibly say that? She's ineligible for resurrection protocols because she never died.
Oh, no.
As she basically explains that Sebastian beat this woman. It was one of those like abusive relationships where the guy thought he was still in the right. He still loved the girl, but he was still abusive asshole.
Oh, no.
And she basically comes to Emma and goes like, I want out of the Hellfire Club. I'm tired of this. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. And she's like, hey, that's going to be tough, but I'll talk with him. I'll see if we can, here's hoping that this night will change your life. And it goes through an event that probably happened in the comics. I don't know what issues or whatever, where a Sentinel attacks. Emma, seeing the solution, realizing this will give her exactly what she wants, tricks Sebastian's mind into seeing her die by the Sentinel's hand. And as the sort of Sentinel, she creates a psychic double, as she basically tricks Sebastian and the other Hellfire people into murdering all the humans of the Hellfire Club. So it can be truly a mutant organization.
Ooh.
As she sets up a new life for this woman with the Kingpin.
No. This is fucking Vanessa? Vanessa's a mutant?
No, it's not Vanessa. I don't think it's Vanessa. It's just basically like, hey, basically Kingpin has the resources to fucking get her all the materials for her new life. And Kingpin basically goes like, all right, cool, I'm down for that. But Emma, you have a debt with me. You got to repay it with your abilities. And she goes like, yeah, it was high. I did it all. I saved it all. I got her out of that situation. And eventually I worked off the joint debt by using my gift as a fixer for the Kingpin of Crime. And that is all I will ever say about those days. It's all a lie. I was making money playing both sides. Then I thought she died, and it made me choose a side. And we won. We took over the Hellfire Club. We took over an island, a world, and this morning a solar system. I despise you, Sebastian, but I don't know if we could have accomplished everything as quickly as he did without it. You. In the end, Krakoa is worth almost any sacrifice. Basically, Sebastian, you're a piece of shit. You don't get to have your happiness because you've been a piece of shit.
All right.
But you see what I mean? Where he's just like, he's fixed physically, but emotionally.
This whole book is just stealth Sebastian Shaw born again, isn't it?
I won at the end of this, Sebastian Shaw being the best boy ever.
Yeah.
Because honestly, ever since the beatdown, he's actually tried to be a better person. Somewhat. Like, he's still Sebastian Shaw. He's still an asshole, but he's going like, you know what? I'll play along with the plans. I'll work together. Well, I'll actually do it. You know, I understand why you were pissed. I won't do that kind of thing again. And it's just like the utter look of like, Jesus fucking Christ, I have fucked up in that Sebastian Shaw face, and the simmering anger at Emma too. Like,
That's literally fucking his hope, his optimism destroyed.
yeah. Yeah, by the way, that love you thought you had, yeah, she hated you and she wanted to run away. What? I loved her. Yeah, you still beat her. Oh. Yeah, we also tricked you into killing a bunch of humans. I was trying to work both sides and I ruined so much business with that. Yeah.
He just looks like, you know, that version of the Chad meme where his face is all shaded, like his life is terrible. That's
Yeah.
what that is. That's literally what that is.
I cannot wait to see what happens after this.
Yeah. Also, that's a good look for Emma.
Yeah. It's nice, it's subtle, but it's still Emma.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about Shazam.
So Shazam is getting a little mini series right now. It's 4 issues, and it's really interesting because it's throwing me into a status quo I was aware of but didn't know much about, which is Titans Academy. Billy Batson is currently a student of the Titans Academy, and his powers are on the fritz. They're not working quite so good. They're like going out in the middle of fights and stuff. He's full on Ben 10ing it. Later season Ben 10ing it. And he's just kind of going around being like, I don't know why my powers aren't working as well as they used to. What's going on with me? He has this conversation with Nightwing where he's like, I wonder if maybe it's because I'm getting older, because he's kind of drawn like he's 14 or 15, whereas normally Billy is depicted as like a 12-year-old.
Right.
And he's like, maybe you just can't be Shazam if you're not a kid. And he's like, and Nightwing is just like, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, Billy. Maybe you do want a normal life. Maybe you should think about that. You know, sooner or later we all have to grow up, says the man in skin tight spandex.
He's a well-adjusted man in that universe in skin tight spandex. Let's admit that.
True.
Other than Superman. Superman's pretty well adjusted.
Superman is the most well adjusted. Superman is the most wholesome based, well adjusted family man there has ever been. But
there's a reason Nightwing is Nightwing and not Batwing.
Yeah.
Because Nightwing's a Superman thing.
Yeah, don't forget, Nightwing's favorite superhero is Superman. But he goes to Rachel Roth, aka Raven, who is basically the psychiatrist for the school. And she's finishing up with another student, but she basically goes right into her session with him and is like, are you still having the dream? And he's like, yeah, I'm still seeing the Rock of Eternity covered in fire, and I don't know what that means. Something bad's going to happen soon in relation to my powers, and I feel like this whole powers on the fritz thing is leading towards that, but I don't know how. And she's like, well, don't worry, we're all working on it. We're gonna look into it. Just keep going about your studies. And he goes out into the hall and immediately gets bullied. Because of course there's still bullies at a high school with superpowers. And he doesn't really do anything. He just kind of hangs back while literally all the other students in the hall are like, dude, are you seriously trying to bully this kid? You're in a high school where everybody has different superpowers. Do you think this is a good idea? And Starfire comes in and she's just like, all right, everybody, break it up. Billy, come to my office. And he's like, I didn't do anything. And she's like, just come on. I just want to talk to you. And she tries to mutter him. She tries to basically be like, well, you just need to keep your head down. Don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. We're working on it. And then they see on the news that a satellite is falling out of orbit. And she's like, I got to go take care of that. And he's like, well, I'm coming with you. Do you think that's a great idea? Does it matter? And he transforms into Captain Marvel. And
he's still officially called Captain Marvel in the book.
No, they call him Shazam now, but I'm still calling him Captain Marvel. But
well, I mean, one company has the copyright to, but
yeah,
you're talking.
But he tries to transform. It doesn't quite work, but he runs outside and he does transform for like 10 seconds, just enough to get way high up in the air. And then he transforms back into Billy and starts falling. And fucking John Kent's Superman saves him. And he's just like, oh my god, it's gotten so bad that I'm getting saved at the last minute by Superman Jr. This is fucking embarrassing. And he goes back to his room to sulk, and we find out that his roommate is the freaking kid from Dial H for Hero, which I thought was cute.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey man, could I borrow your H dial? Could I just start doing that?" And he's like, "It doesn't work with people who already have superpowers." Damn it! And then we find out that Mary is also there. Mary was waiting for him in his room because she goes to a normal school, but she needed to talk to him because he's been ignoring Freddy's texts because his powers don't just affect him; they affect the entire Shazam family. Which means if he doesn't have his powers, then Mary doesn't have her powers, and Freddy, Captain Marvel Jr., doesn't have his powers. And you know the thing with Freddy, right?
Yeah, he's partially disabled.
Yeah, he's paraplegic. He has a neurological disease that is causing his muscles to slowly degrade, and he's in the hospital because of the powers going away, and it's bad. Like he's at death's door, bad. And Mary's like, "You need to go and see your best friend." And Billy's like, "What the fuck am I gonna tell him? Sorry, my powers are on the fritz. I guess you don't get the stamina of Hercules." And she's like, "No, that doesn't matter. What matters is that your friend is scared and alone, and you need to go to him and tell him it's going to be okay, even if it's not." And he's like, "God damn it, you're right. I fucked everything up. I should have never gone to this school. I've just been ignoring everything here and hoping it'll work out." She's like, "It's okay. I understand. Maybe, maybe when this is all over, one of the Mystic heroes can help you out. Maybe you could go to Zatanna or Dr. Fate. I saw him earlier talking to the Titans, and he's like, wait, Dr. Fate's here? Yeah, that's not normal. Something's going on." She's like, "You should probably go figure out what that is." And so he runs down the hall to the Titans meeting room, and he eavesdrops in, and we see Dr. Fate talking to the Titans about the Rock of Eternity having slipped out of its natural place in the DC cosmetology. And yeah, it's headed into a pit of flames and it's going to get destroyed. That's why Billy's powers aren't working. And they've been keeping that from him.
Oof.
They're babying him. And there is also a really good bit of comedy here where Beast Boy is like, "Oh, not another crisis. I can't go through this shit again." And Dr. Fate's like, "Don't worry, it's nowhere near crisis level."
Why is this the official, like, recognized term?
It is. You didn't know that?
No, I thought it was just an external marketing joke.
Nope.
Like
It's
how we
become-
like Secret Wars.
It's become
Oh
an
my-
internal thing. And then
Fucking
there's also a great follow up to that where Cyborg goes, "It's true, Dr. Fate. He's not good in a crisis."
Damn it, motherfucker. Oh.
But they all basically go like, "Okay, so this is serious. We're gonna go ahead and get involved. Dr. Fate, take us to the magical realm, and we're gonna deal with it. And nobody tell Billy." And Billy's listening right outside the door, and he's like, "So I'm going after them. Do you want to come with me, Dial H for Hero?" And he's like, "That sounds dangerous. No thanks." And then the kid from earlier in the issue, who had been having a session with Raven, comes up and he's like, "I'll go with you." He's like, "I barely know you." "Yeah, but you're going to need a way to get there." And the final issue reveal is, and I don't know if this is a new character who's been introduced or this is supposed to be like a big fanboy moment, but this guy has the power to make portals to other dimensions. So he's going to be how Billy will be getting around right now.
Okay.
So
He looks like the son of DC Lucifer.
he kind of does, yeah. I wonder if that's who he is. Wouldn't that be a twist? Wouldn't that be a twisty twist? Also, here's John saving Billy, just because it's a full page spread.
Billy looks like goddamn Peter Parker.
He does.
Man.
But that was Shazam. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm probably gonna keep up with it. And I would recommend it.
Where's Sean Kent superheroing?
His book starts next week, I believe. That is Superman, Son of Kal-El by Tom Taylor.
They haven't said what city he's kind of focusing in on.
No, I assume he's hanging around Metropolis.
Okay.
Because, like, one of the covers that just got solicited showed, like, a destroyed Kent farm.
No, Superman can't be happy. He can't have any of this happiness. Fuck you.
Kent Farm, dude, Kent Farm is like the fucking DC X mansion. It gets destroyed every other week. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't anymore because they don't use it anymore, but...
No, it's just in a permanent state of destruction, the X-Mansion is.
Yeah.
It's overgrown.
It will remain forever as a monument to who gives a shit.
Yeah. So you want to hear about some new mutants?
Yeah, how's my wife doing?
She didn't appear in this issue.
Okay, I'm out. I'm kidding.
No, we're still with the kids and Gabby's dead body, and they're freaking out. I was like, what the fuck do we do? What the fuck do we do? We gotta tell them, we gotta get her resurrected, do all that kind of stuff. And then No Girl starts possessing Gabby's body, goes like, no, we can't trust the adults. How many times have our questions and fears been brushed aside with barely any concern? Cosmar asked for their help and they gave her platitudes. And yet they entered the crucible for little things like Karma still had her powers. Will it be a paper cut next? Basically not realizing that the reason Karma went through the crucible is because she had a second fucking personality in her head of her brother that wasn't there due to mental illness, and they were trying to build a new body for him. That's a pretty good. They were resurrecting the brother. It just so happens that Karma has to die.
Makes sense.
It's ignoring the whole thing, and then they go, well, what if we resurrect her? We've been doing the whole brain switching thing, right? Well, what if we get Gabby's personality from Cerebro somehow and do the body switching thing to her? Because the body's still fine, that whole thing. We could do that, can't we? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. Bunch of dumbass kids. As we actually see freaking Wolfsbane talking to King of Shadows, the Shadow King, and just basically trying to figure out how to fucking deal with her kid. Oh no, we do see Magic for one panel.
Yay.
Because they're basically helping out a little village community, British overseas territory, 2 hours from a natural seismic event. They're basically helping people out. They're saving people. And there's earthquakes happening and they're trying to help people out, and they're all thankful. They're like, oh, thank you for helping out. And this one mom, though, is telling the dude, yo, you can't have her. What are you talking about? Can't have her, all that kind of stuff. And so they go into the collapsed building and they see a little girl, and she goes like, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I didn't mean to do it. I want my mom. And he goes like, okay, let's find her. And then the entire village and community is going like, we're grateful for your help, but you're not taking that girl. You're not kidnapping her just because she's a mutant away from her family and the people who love her. We didn't want to believe that propaganda, but it looks like it's true. And they just go like, folks, we don't want her here. She's only supposed to come here to Krakoa if she wants. There's your mom. Go. And we meant no harm. We're used to humans hurting mutant children, not protecting them when they manifest. Clearly we were wrong. We won't take Abigail away, but she should learn to control her powers. If you're amicable, we will help her with that. We have many mutants that can train her, and they would be happy to do so here, so that she feels more comfortable. One Krakoa gate coming right up. They basically just go like, all right, folks, she's free to come to Krakoa whenever she wants, but you're her family. You're caring for her, so we have no problem. We're not Child Protective Services coming in here going like you're abusing her. So basically they go like, all right, cool, let's help clean up. Here's a Krakoa gate, so if she ever wants to come train her powers, she can. That all right, folks?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And the mom goes, thank you. Very simple. But then the kids with the possessed Gabby body fucking run into Dawkins.
Oh Jesus!
And Dawkins goes like, "Hey kid, I've been worried. What's been wrong?"
Oh, God. It just hit me. This whole issue is just Weekend at Bernie's, isn't it?
It is. What's been wrong?
That's fucked up, but I kind of love it.
And then No Girl basically complains to Dawkins, And just goes like, it means that you blow me off every time I want to spend time with you. It means that we're only family when it's convenient for you. No, you cared more about trying to get into Aurora's pants than you did about your own sister. So not trying to act like a big brother. And Dawkins goes like, is that really what you think of me? And like, and then No Girl in Gabby's body goes like, paying attention to me when I'm around is worth more. It's worth more than stabbing some stranger. But of course, the murderer thinks that being willing to kill is anything other than killing is anything other than selfish. And Akihiro just looks like embarrassed. It's like, damn. As they're heading toward the resurrection pits, they're going like, all right, cool. We need to find a back way. They find a back way. And they basically go like, yeah, we've been on the outs with Gabby for the last few issues, but like, she's our friend. We care about her. We love her. And Cosmer, remember, she's the purple one with the big eye.
Yeah.
She goes like, she's never given me that pause that others do when they look at my face. She saw me and not the changes. And like all of them go like how they love and care about Gabby. And No Girl goes like, she's always patient with me. She does not judge how I communicate, and she always enjoys learning new things, even if she's not the best at them. She's always open and thoughtful, and met us where we were. She needed us, and we failed her. We have to fix it. We have to make it right. Which is really sweet and adorable. But also, they possess the body of one of the five, in order to try and resurrect her. As Wolfsbane drops in and goes like, what in God's name are you doing? As Karma and Danny are in a room and go like, we need to talk about Rain, Wolfsbane, and that's the end of the issue. So yeah, it's Weekend at Bernie's, but it's also really sweet and wholesome, and shows how this relatively new X-Men character is actually pretty cool and integral to the X-Men.
Yeah, sick.
Emotionally, at least. Gabby's a really good emotional center for mutant stuff, which is nice.
I like Gabby. She's good people.
It's always like, it's just interesting because it's like each of Wolverine's kids kind of reflect an aspect of Wolverine. Because Dawkins like the horrific aggression, the berserker, the anger, all that kind of stuff. Laura's the tragedy. And the trauma of being Wolverine, and Gabby's the wholesomeness of loving and caring about other people, even if you're not quite sure how to show it all the time.
I'm gonna definitely vibe with that.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have to vibe with a lot of my weird thoughts tomorrow, at least, because that's it. That's all the comics I read. So thank you for listening to No Price Podcast. Do you think you have any final thoughts about comic books this week?
Not really. I mean, I thought a lot more about comic books this week than I usually, even though I didn't read any Hickman X-Men this week.
So why don't you tell people where they can find your shit?
Hey everybody, I'm the Vacuuminator. I'm a toy reviewer here on YouTube. I do videos about all kinds of 1/12 scale collector grade action figures. My latest review, when this comes out, should still be the Transformers Generations Kingdom Huffer and Inferno. So if you want to go see my thoughts on those, see me tackle Transformers in my current style for the first time, definitely do go and give that a look at youtube.com/The Vacuuminator, which is spelled TheVacuuminator. And you can also follow me on Twitter at The Vacuuminator, and follow me on Instagram at _Vacuuminator for daily action figure photography. I just, as of the day we're recording this, I just posted a cool picture of Supergirl fighting the Hulk. So everybody go check that out. That's cool.
Hey, howdy. I'm Chris Boingo Writer Gaston. I make a variety of content on the internet, one of those being video essays and editorials. You can find my YouTube channel by searching Boingo Writer. What's up? I'm on Instagram at Boingo_Writer, and right now my Twitter is a little bit different than the standard average Twitter of a content creator, because I'm kind of working on a program thing. It's really interesting. I'm going to start giving some notes out about that in the upcoming days, but hopefully I'll be able to share more of what's going on there. It's getting a little exciting, buddy, if I do say so myself.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, it is. But in the meantime, this has been No Price Podcast, part of Modular Media. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hey, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe so you can catch this podcast and many more, including but not limited to Modular Media Wrestling Podcast, where me and Vac here talk about the professional wrestling we liked in the week. Do you like wrestling, Vac?
I do. I've actually got some wrestling news to talk to you about after we get off this recording.
Nice. We also have Modular Components, a weekly hangout session between me, Vac, anybody else who comes. Normally it's Snowcone, oftentimes it's Buster. We just hang out. We talk shit. We talk pop culture and the things we liked and the things we didn't like. And like, by God, let me tell you some that kind of conversation, you know? That kind of thing. We slap
Yeah.
our leg a lot. Slap
Back
your leg.
in my day, there was do you know what a Beyblade is? Yes.
Let it fucking rip. So why don't you tell people about the final podcast of our little organization?
Hey, if you're interested in the wonderful wide world of Japanese live-action special effects, you should probably listen to Twit or This Week in Toku with myself and Buster Core, where each and every week we discuss the latest news and releases from shows like Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, Power Rangers, Ultraman, and Gara.
Oh yeah, and if you're listening to this podcast on a podcasting platform of your choosing, such as Apple or Spotify, hey, give us a follow and tell people about it. And leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Great way to help us out. And yeah, share it around. But in the meantime, you think you have any final words?
Please, no one murder me in the comments for that Supergirl pitch. I know it's a really big choice for me as a straight white cis male.